Editors, Z0rel Blue Mango Aderisnut. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 327, Axis 1. The first to notice my abnormal state is Hong Fan. Seeing my complexion, Hong Fan quickly approaches and asks, "Master, is there something wrong?" "I'm fine, but is this the body of a vestige?" "Soon the vestige's body will collapse, and we will enter the bright cold realm." Pazug. The sky collapses. Following that, the dimensional barrier of the bright cold realm appears before our eyes. 3 forces of attraction. Just like last time, I feel 3 attraction forces grasping my hand. One leads to the flying immortal platform. Another is connected to the Black Ghost Valley. And the last one. Oh, I see. Now I finally understand the identity of the last attraction force. Ancient force, is it? Seat holder of health, deputy judge of the netherworld, ancient force true Lord Hainyong. I felt the same sensation when reading the will left by Hainyong to Lofty Dragon and from their tears, the clear scale armor. It's clear. This attraction force leads to the ancient force realm. I ponder for a moment. Should I go to the ancient force realm? It's then. Boing. Puhak. Suddenly, the attraction from the ancient force realm intensifies tremendously. This is crazy. The attraction, as if determined to pull me in, wraps around me. Seo Yunhyan, what's going on? Master. Jian Myohoon and Hong Fan look at me in surprise and ask. It seems another middle realm is pulling me in. Although the bright cold realm is somewhat close to the head realm due to the ascension gate, one can still ascend to other realms like ancient force, nether ghost, true devil, and purple gold as long as one has the qualifications and uses the serving command seal. Considering I am currently in the state of mid-ascension from the head realm, I can still reach the ancient force realm without spending much time. What should I do? Should I explore another middle realm? That could be a worthwhile choice. More importantly, there are people like Kim Young-hoon, Buk Hyung-hwa, and Seo Ran in the ancient force realm. Meeting them might not be a bad idea. However, I frown. No, it's not right. There's too much to be done in the bright cold realm to be swept away by this attraction so absurdly. Besides, I still have to find a way to save Kang Min-hee. Let's head to the bright cold realm first. I make my decision and gather my strength. Weiyuting. Currently, my realm in martial arts is at the first step before the throne. My realm in cultivation is at the 4-axis stage of the heaven and earth tribes. Though I possess the axis of wealth, I only possess it. I need to fully reach the 4-axis stage to utilize it properly. Just as Seo Atrial conducted the axis foundation practice in the lower realm to acquire the axis, but his actual power was at the grand perfection heavenly being stage, I am in a similar state. However, as confirmed during my regression, it's possible for a cultivator at the 4-axis stage to manipulate attraction force using just their soul. My cultivation is at the heavenly being stage, but my soul is at the 4-axis stage. Kugagugug. I manipulate attraction force, breaking free from the ferocious pull of the ancient force realm. Then, approaching Jian Myohoon and Hong Fan, I reach out towards the dimensional barrier of the bright cold realm. Quagwagwagwing. With an explosion of light, we enter the bright cold realm. How many hours have passed since Seo Yunhyan entered the bright cold realm? Kugagagugugu. A massive, dark red mist squirms outside the dimensional barrier of the bright cold realm, approaching it. Quarirung. The dark red entity attempts to approach the bright cold realm, but after being scorched by a colossal heavenly tribulation, it lingers around briefly before retreating. Chwag. I feel the familiar spiritual energy nearby. From a distance, a figure who seems to be an inspector at the 4-axis stage is flying towards us. I speak to Jian Myohoon. Jian Myohoon, are you familiar with the rituals of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect? Yes, what do you need? After the fall of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect in the bright cold realm, paradoxically, he obsessively studied the remnants of the sect. Among them were rituals that can delay heavenly tribulations. Delay the heavenly tribulation for a moment. I have something to do. Without waiting for his response, I sit down and focus my consciousness. Kurung Kururung. Dark clouds began to gather in the sky. Just as Azure Tiger Saint, Heo Guak, Jin Byako and Coh reach the four-axis stage upon ascending to the bright cold realm. I will do the same. Using the attraction force generated by my soul, I begin to draw in an immense amount of heaven and earth spiritual energy from the plane of Qi. At the same time, I rise to the four-axis stage of the earth tribe, using the energy stored in the colorless glass sword. Kagagugu. Damn it, give me a warning before you do something like this. Jian Myohoon curses, but quickly plants the flags of the 7 lightning quaking scripture around and sets up a formation. Quada Quajadug Pukek. Interacting with the energy of the formation, Jian Myohoon sacrifices 3 of his fingers of his heavenly golden thunder body to temporarily delay the celestial energy. As the celestial energy shifts, the heavenly tribulation that should have struck during the breakthrough is postponed for 3 days. For a moment, it feels as if the dragon veins of the Heaven-Earth Palace are merging with me. I think I understand why Hunwon recuperates in the Heaven-Earth Palace. Harmony, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. The energies of yin and yang are harmoniously enveloping each other in a perfectly balanced way. The Taiji quaking lightning body can twist and disrupt the yin and yang within an opponent's body, but the dragon vein of the Heaven-Earth Palace seems capable of gradually restoring the twisted yin and yang. Quagwigwang. A tremendous roar erupts from my body as radiant light bursts forth. In an instant, I rise to the four-axis stage. It's a bit lacking. To achieve the 3 great ultimates, I need to use the power of the Ghost King given to me by Seo Li and rise to the four-axis stage with Heaven Tribe methods. However, rising with Heaven Tribe methods requires a ritual, which seems difficult at the moment. While I am gauging my strength, Kagagugug. Hunwon emerges, tearing through the space. You all. Greetings, Pinglai Palace Lord, it's been a while. I speak, making eye contact with Hunwon. He glares at me with a supervisory eye. Your manners are lacking. I apologize for that. However, I don't have favorable feelings towards you, so I hope you understand. He glares at me. Despite his fairly dignified and handsome appearance with his top-knot hair tied with a black manjan, his hair is spilling out from between the strands of the topknot and his eyes look sunken, giving him a very haggard appearance. As Yon Wei had said, he seemed to have been quite a handsome man in his youth, but now he is just a worn-out old man. And one more thing. Jian Myohoon, the current highest grand elder of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, has cancelled the bounty, so there's no need to capture us. That's right. We won't be pursuing Seo Yunhyan anymore. But Seo Yunhyan, what kind of tone is that towards a grand cultivator? Jian Myohoon speaks with some courtesy, while looking at me with disapproval due to my attitude. Hunwon glances at us briefly, before nodding and turning around. I immediately open my mouth and draw out the colorless glass sword, and Hunwon turns back around, swinging his hand at me as if he has been waiting for this moment. Flash. A palm-shaped energy wave, imbued with the power of the 5 elements, fly towards me. I infuse the all-heaven sword into the colorless glass sword and deflect Hunwon's strike into the sky. Thud. Quang. The sky shakes, revealing the wavering protective barrier that envelops the entire Heaven-Earth Palace. Jian Myohoon is flabbergasted by the sudden turn of events, while I smirk at Hunwon. What's with the sudden ruckus? Hunwon stares at me briefly. Giving me a glare, he snaps his fingers. Snap. Boing. The space twists, and before I know it, we are outside Heaven-Earth Palace due to Hunwon's ground-shrinking technique. To be honest, I don't like you lot. Despite my goodwill in supporting the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, you still caused its downfall again. What? Jian Myohoon's face turns livid with anger at those words. However, Hunwon, ignoring Jian Myohoon, continues to glare at me as he speaks. But regardless, you are still valuable forces of the human race, so I can't just kill you. Since I've lost all my investment in the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, you'll have to compensate for my loss by enduring my one strike. If you can withstand it, I will forgive you and disregard the lost investments and support. No, what nonsense is this? Do you even know what investing means? Jian Myohoon roars in anger, releasing red lightning, while I chuckle at Hunwon's words. As I burst into laughter, both Jian Myohoon and Hunwon stare at me. This is hilarious. What? If we endure a strike, you will forgive us. Let us go. This bastard really. When we seemed weak, he tried to kill us outright, but now that we seem a little threatening, he changes his tune. Knowing Hunwon well, his changed attitude due to my regression irritates me even more. Squish squelch. I take out Yuan Yu from my bosom and stand him beside me. Then I push Yuan Yu while holding his shoulder towards Jian Myung-hoon. Well, fine, come at me, Grand Cultivator Hunwon. Twitch. Hunwon's eyes twitch, and he begins to gather attraction into his hands. Good, if that's what you want. It feels as if the yin and yang of heaven and earth are concentrating on Hunwon. Let's see. Kagagugu. As I operate the Azure Spirit Starlight Quintessence Great Method, I transform into a giant of stars. My body grows larger, and tremendous power fills my entire being. As if to make it easier to hit me, Hunwon floats into the air to match my eye level while preparing the great mountain-splitting Emperor technique. In my transformed state, I draw upon the power of the Ghost King gifted by Seo Li. Although not fully at the 4-axis stage of the Heaven Tribe, by overlaying General Seo circuits over my body and amplifying the Heaven Tribe power, I can temporarily exert the strength of one. Kagagagugu. Faces begin to sprout from my shoulders. Kiala, Kuala, Huala. Ghostly wails echo as 18 faces sprout from my starry giant's shoulders. This is crazy. What is that? A monster from the interdimensional void has invaded. The Heaven-Earth Palace Lord is going to slaughter the monster. Palace Lord, please do not lose. As the giant of starlight with 19 heads appear, the cultivators at the 4-axis and heavenly being stages within the Heaven-Earth Palace scream in terror. Weeyutting. Although the power of the Heaven Tribe has only been forcibly amplified using the Mad Lord circuits, it's enough to summon the 3 great ultimates for a brief moment. Kagagugug. Despite being somewhat unstable, the symbol of the colossal 3 great ultimates blooms like a halo behind the 19 heads. From below, even Jian Myung-hoon shows a slightly uneasy expression at this grotesque sight. Chulalalala. The heaven and earth spiritual energy envelops me. At the same time, gathering black and white immortal devil energy in his hands, Hunwon's eyes brightened. Here I come, do not regret this. Come if you dare. Kagagugugu. Great mountain. Immense power radiates from Hunwon's hands. However, I look at Hunwon and smirk. Pazazazug. Salt sprouts from my hands. I channel all of the volcanic power of the 3 great ultimates into my hands. I've always wanted to try this at least once. Chuckling inwardly, I concentrate the power of the Yin Soul Ghost Incantation and White Orchid Blessing Incantation in both hands. Then mimicking Hunwon, I shout, Great Mountain! Surprise and bewilderment flashes in Hunwon's eyes. His gaze vividly screams, You bastard, what kind of sorcery is this? I grin and extend my hands towards Hunwon. As expected, the barrier of Yin and Yang 5 elements emerges around him as well. Hunwon grits his teeth and extends his hand towards me. Splitting Emperor. Splitting Emperor. Flash. The world is dyed white. Payet. In a space left with nothing else but light. 2 beings are clashing with their powers. A starry giant with 19 heads and a halo behind it. And a dignified middle-aged man with a topknot wearing a black mansion, surrounded by the energies of yin and yang. At some point, as the power of the 2 beings reach their peak and the boundaries between the 2 become blurred within the light, they see something within each other. The giant of stars with 19 heads sees a name in the direction of Hunwon. The name is Chinra, Heavenly Net. Kyojujuduk. From the body of the starry giant with 19 heads, numerous bizarre rocks, trees, and souls sprout as the giant begins to transform into the great mountain, Chinese letter. Conversely, the dignified middle-aged man with the topknot sees a certain shape in the direction of the giant. It's an inverted cone. Pyosozak. A salt pillar begins to grow from throughout the middle-aged man's entire body. Alia. Alia. Both beings, having seen something terrifying within each other, scream simultaneously. // Discord https://dsc.gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. It's strange. An eerie sound brushes my ears. No, that's not right. I don't have ears. I died. No, this is strange too. Whenever I die, I always regress immediately so my body is restored. So why don't I have ears? I regain consciousness. This place is a bizarre sound. No, perhaps it would be better described as a melody. I can feel my soul being transported somewhere along with that sound. And then I realize I'm in a place that seems like a giant river flowing against its current. Tujitsudatsu. I see. There are scenes in the river. No, to be precise, in the huge yin and yang. The Teiji spirals as it flows, and within that spiral, scenes flow like a river. I understand. So this is how my regression works. I am undoubtedly experiencing regression in progress. I must have regained consciousness while traveling back in time. However, nothing like this has happened before. Why is this happening now? As I ponder, I realize I have changed from before. Right, I reached the four-axis stage, didn't I? Chi, soul, and fate are one. Just as heaven, earth, and heart are one, if you gather power at the plane of Chi, it also affects the higher planes. Therefore, when you gather energy and elevate your realm, your consciousness grows and your lifespan changes. And because Coatrial elevated me to the four-axis stage, my physical body reached the four-axis level of the Earth tribe, and consequently, my consciousness also attained the level of the four-axis stage. No, wait. As I quietly observe my soul, I feel something more. This is Seo Lee's spiritual power. It's the realm that Seo Lee had achieved. That's right. He had extracted and condensed my death within his body, and then passed it on to me. Seo Lee. Thank you, I won't forget this. Woven. As soon as I acknowledge him, I feel the three great ultimates more distinctly flowing within my soul. I see the reason I can regain consciousness during this regression. It might be because I had fully raised the three great ultimates to the four-axis stage. The heavenly being stage and the four-axis stage are clearly steps to completing the heavenly circle and earthly bearings. So why are they divided into the minor boundary and middle boundary? Moreover, although there is a difference in power between the four-axis stage and the heavenly being stage, it isn't that significant. Yet, why are the boundaries split between the four-axis stage and the heavenly being stage? And why does the completely separate heart tribe have 3 stages of manifestation up to the heavenly being stage, and 3 steps before the throne for the middle boundary? I feel like I'm starting to understand something. The reason the minor boundary and middle boundary are distinctly separated. From the four-axis stage onward, there is an overwhelming difference in realms and lifespan compared to the previous stages. The reason is attraction force. As the soul itself begins to generate attraction force, it becomes the first realm resembling fate, thus separating the minor boundary and middle boundary, and the attraction force of the heavens resonates with one's own, allowing for an even longer lifespan. Tsujitsudatsu. While traveling back in time, I try to resist the act of reversing time by moving attraction force. But it's impossible. I can feel that regression is something I can never touch, no matter how much I struggle. Damn, it can't be helped. I decide to quietly wait, entrusting my body to the force pulling me back to the past. While doing so, I observe my soul. What's this? I'm startled as I examine my soul. My soul and my Dharma treasure have completely merged. No, to be precise, even my soul emits energy. And my colorless glass sword is completely synchronized with the energy emitted by my soul. Ha. This means I no longer need to drink the white red wine. It has completely synchronized with the energy of my soul. This is the ability of the four-axis stage. From the four-axis stage onwards, even if one is killed and the body dissected, the Dharma treasure cannot be retrieved. The Dharma treasure becomes partially merged with the energy of the soul and follows it around. And since it is merged with the energy of the soul, it seems to follow my regression without needing to drink the white red wine. No, perhaps white red wine is actually a method that momentarily makes the Dharma treasure resemble the connection of a four-axis stage, cultivator's Dharma treasure. That is probably the case. I won't need to worry about obtaining white red wine anymore. However, there is something more concerning than the colorless glass sword. The soul-bearing flower given by Yu Hao Ti and the clear scale armor are also merged with my soul. The soul-bearing flower was already a flower entwined with the plane of soul, so I expected this. But I didn't expect even the clear scale armor to be connected to my soul. Well, actually, this is that, but what surprises me the most is something else entirely. Axis, the axis of wealth also follows. Yes, surprisingly, the axis of wealth is also following my soul. Come to think of it, the fact that the colorless glass sword is completely merged with my soul itself must be due to the influence of the axis. And reflecting further, Coatrial had removed only his axis from my body while being deprived of control. At the time, I thought it was Coatrial's deep and mysterious divine power. But if the axis is connected to the soul in the first place, it would have been easy for Coatrial to retrieve the 4 axes of 5 blessings because they were connected to his soul. Back then, when I tried to return to the owner of heavenly punishment in front of Coatrial, he blocked me by consuming his axis and then mentioned needing to go to the blood yin realm. Coatrial has to go to the blood yin realm to replenish his axis whenever it's consumed, so the axes of 5 blessings are not easily obtained and are his precious treasures. He wouldn't have recklessly infused such treasures into my body, only to have them taken away. Once an axis is obtained, does it become completely controlled by one's soul? That seems to be the case. Perhaps the difference between the orthodox axis foundation and heterodox axis foundation is that the heterodox axis foundation doesn't synchronize well with the soul because it was taken from someone else. I'm discovering many intriguing facts. As I'm being pulled into the past, I watch the scenes reversing around me. Maybe because I'm traveling back 500 years, the regression is taking some time. Suddenly, while moving backward through time, I look up at what seems to be above and am shocked. That place is the heavens, a vast sky filled with immense darkness. At the center of that sky, the seats Chinese letter of great beings shine like stars in the dark night. As soon as I recognize a total of 10 seats, I feel a shock that seems to shatter my mind. Hyok. I can feel it. The power of the seats. I can see the positions of the seats. Amidst the darkness, the clusters of light are centered around 4 lights, with 6 lights positioned around them. And the 4 central stars have rings around their bodies, like the rings around Jupiter or Saturn. Among the 6 stars surrounding the 4 central ones, one also has a ring around it. A total of 5 stars have rings, while 5 stars do not. No, looking closely, something seems off. Though I can't pinpoint what's strange. GRRK. While feeling the agony of my soul being crushed, I recognize the aura emanating from the 10 stars. I feel it. Those stars are beings. Those stars are the eyes that look down on the earth from the sky. A being that seems imprisoned somewhere. A being that feels somehow familiar. A being that gives the feel of an unending and boundless hunger. A being that gives a hazy feeling as if in a confusing, dizzying dream. A being that exudes a determination as immovable as a great mountain. A being that feels both extremely familiar and yet simultaneously repulsive. Don't recognize them. I feel the 4 stars that have taken their place in the center. One that gives a hollow feeling of emptiness. One that feels like the owner of the soul-bearing flower. One that seems to be watching me right now. One that seems to be the oldest of all. The moment I feel the last being, I experience a terror and chill I have never felt before. I've been feeling this strange sensation for a while. I now know what this sensation is. The feeling I had when I was briefly stalked by Kim Yoon on my way home from work. The feeling that someone is chasing after me. I now understand. It's coming. I can feel it. The will that seems to say there's no longer any need to even bother hiding now that I have noticed. From afar, from the future time I had passed, pitch black darkness is spreading and chasing after me. The oldest one. The death god. The master of the netherworld. The heavenly venerable of the underworld, reversing history, is chasing my regression. The darkness gathers like a hand covering the world and reaches out to me. If it weren't for this peculiar situation of reversing time, it would have been impossible to even perceive the will of the great being. But now it is being conveyed across space-time. Taxidermy Chinese letter. Sealing Chinese letter. Incarceration Chinese letter. Detainment Chinese letter. Endless eternity Chinese letter. Life imprisonment Chinese letter. Taxidermy. I would be eternally preserved in the darkness. I would be trapped in the deepest depths of the underworld, where no light could ever reach, unable to live or die. No, no. I think of death as a blessing. But I can never accept something like that. Being unable to die or live, unable to meet anyone, trapped in the deepest abyss of the underworld, where no light ever reaches for endless eternity. Even if I die, I can't die trapped by that. I cling even more desperately to the force pulling me into the past with all my might. I have desired death, but not like this. If I'm trapped in a place where I can never meet any connections again, what difference is there between that and regression? Such a thing is absolutely unacceptable. But the hand of darkness chases after me with relentless force. No. Overwhelmed by a fear I have never experienced even once before, I rack my brain for a way to shake it off. In the midst of this, my gaze falls upon the clear scale armor that is following my regression. I can feel it. The clear scale armor is emitting attraction force. You how t. Was it said that what true immortals could give us are only calamity? Perhaps Yu Hao Ti thought he was giving me a blessing, but they are also the tears of Hei Nyong, who was a judge under the heavenly venerable of the underworld. Clinging to the attraction force emitted from those tears, the heavenly venerable of the underworld is pursuing me. I hurriedly sever the link between the clear scale armor and my soul. Thunk! The clear scale armor vanishes to the other side of time. However, even though the attraction force is gone, the hand continues to chase me through time. No, no, I'm going to get caught, I'm going to get caught. I feel my mind freezing with fear. Then suddenly, my gaze falls on the soul-bearing flower. Yes, the soul-bearing flower. I grasp the soul-bearing flower linked to my soul. Tsutsutsu. As I use the soul-bearing flower, a brilliant white light erupts, creating a blinding radiance between me and the heavenly venerable of the underworld. Simultaneously, I feel a will emanate from one of the 10 stars in the dark sky, from the one that feels like the owner of the soul-bearing flower. Displeasure, Chinese letter, rage, Chinese letter. However, the original owner of the soul-bearing flower, though enraged, does not chase after me like the heavenly venerable of the underworld. I vaguely sense that they're hesitant to come here out of fear of the heavenly venerable of the underworld. Payet. As the light fades, I see the darkness of the owner of the netherworld momentarily blocked. Kugagugug. Even so, the heavenly venerable of the underworld tries to extend their hand through the light to grasp me, but eventually, perhaps unable to withstand further reversal of time, fails to reach me. Thus, the heavenly venerable of the underworld can no longer chase after my regression and is left in the future. And I fall to the starting point of my 19th cycle. Hyok. It's a familiar sky. Around me, Jian Myohoon and Hong Fan are observing the night sea from the mass-produced Nether crossing ship. I clutch my chest, wiping away the cold sweat. What chased me just now was not the heavenly venerable of the underworld themselves. At most, it was the heavenly venerable extending one arm towards me. And for a being of that level, I absolutely must not die in front of the heavenly venerable of the underworld. If it was the main body of the master of the netherworld, they might have caught me without needing attraction force, merely by reversing history. 19th return. How will this cycle, which already started with a not-so-smooth regression process, unfold? Chapter 328, Axis 2. Translator, Translating Novice. Editors, Z0rel Blue Mango Adat. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. The light fades away. Kagagugu. A massive mountain plummets to the ground. No, it's a giant who has sprouted a mountain from its body. Chialpiak. Simultaneously, a middle-aged man with a salt pillar growing from his body also falls to the ground. For a while, both focused on shedding the bizarre foreign substances that have sprouted from their bodies. Piososak. Koog. The middle-aged man, Hun 1, tears at the salt that has grown on his body, regenerating himself. At the same time, the giant, Seo Yun Hyan, also tears off the mountain ranges that have sprouted from his body. Hun 1 is the first to recover. After tearing off all the salt chunks and completely regenerating his body, he glares at Seo Yun Hyan. You're someone who shouldn't be left alive. Weeyuting. Hun 1's arms begin to emit attraction force again. Seo Yun Hyan growls, his 38 eyes glowing. What are you saying? Didn't you say you would forgive and let us go if I took a hit? Sorry, but I don't remember that. Hun One smirks and once again prepares the great mountain-splitting emperor technique with both arms. I don't know what kind of secret art allowed you to mimic my great mountain-splitting emperor technique, but disappear. Kug. Seo Yun Hyun, with a hurried face, brushes off the mountains growing on his body and gathers attraction force in his hands again. However, he displays a frustrated expression. I can't use it consecutively. I see, it's a matter of proficiency. Proficiency. The reason Hun One can perform continuous attacks with the great mountain-splitting emperor technique is that he has been mastering it for tens of thousands of years. Even for someone like Seo Yun Hyun, it's impossible to freely use the supernatural powers of a technique he has only just acquired. In fact, the only reason that he had been able to use the great mountain-splitting emperor technique even once after seeing the technique formula is because he is a heaven and earth dual cultivation practitioner, is well-versed in yin and yang, has mastered all 5 elements, and has all the conditions met through the yin soul ghost incantation and the white orchid blessing incantation. Typically, just seeing the formula alone would never allow one to use the great mountain-splitting emperor technique. Kagagugu. Hun One gathers his energy. To make matters worse, Seo Yun Hyun is currently struggling to move due to the rebound effect from seeing the name through using the great mountain-splitting emperor technique. It's a moment of life and death. At that moment, Yuan Yu, who is next to Jian Myohun, moves. Surung. In Yuan Yu's hand, the all-heaven sword appears. Xiugag. Once is enough. To divert Hun One's concentration, while he is intensely focusing on preparing the great mountain-splitting emperor technique, just once is sufficient. Chwag. A wound of all of heaven's colors appears on Hun One's body, struck by the sword energy of the all-heaven sword. He turns around hurriedly to look at me, and I smile brightly as I speak. It seems I know quite a few miscellaneous techniques. When I had grabbed Yuan Yu's shoulder earlier and sent him to Jian Myohun, I left a heart essence avatar inside him. Just in case of moments like this. Wu-Weng. I emerge from Yuan Yu's body and stand in front of Hun One. Jiog. There are a total of 24 heart essence avatars that I had placed in Yuan Yu's body. Just now, one of them was used to warn Hun One. Keep your promise, Pinglai Palace Lord. We would like you to let us go now. Surely, I trust you are not someone who goes back on promises spoken with your mouth. With burning eyes, Hun One glared at me and spat out his words. At my words, Hun One glares at me with burning eyes and spits out his words. You even turn out to be a vile heart tribe spy. Now, I have one more reason to not let you go, so why should I? I sigh and say, I may have learned the techniques of the heart tribe, but I am clearly of the human race. I may be associated as a vile heart tribe, but I am not a spy. More importantly, as someone who has reached the 4th stage of manifestation, I would be acknowledged as a genuine force even by the Grand Cultivator Association. How can those who have learned the Heart Tribe method not be Heart Tribe spies? Recognized by the Grand Cultivator Association, you say. You dream big. Wei-yang. Hun One laughs mockingly at me as he gathers black and white immortal devil energy in his hands. There's precedent, so why wouldn't they recognize it? I will say it again, keep your promise. What precedent are you talking about? I will say it again, you will all die here. I click my tongue while looking at him. Words won't work, huh? Out of the 23 remaining heart essence avatars, 22 of them enter one clone. One move per avatar. I have warned you multiple times. Payet. Around me, the barrier of yin-yang and 5 elements swirls. And then Hun One shouts, Great Mountain, Chinese letter. I take the starting form, countering his technique with my own ultimate move. Severing Mountain, Chinese letter. Though there's no need to shout technique names in martial arts, in this case, I shout to signify my resolve to crush Hun One's will to kill us. Hun One's single strike bursts from his hands, and my 22 sword strikes combine, tearing through heaven and earth with a brilliant burst of light. Take this. Each strike is equivalent to the full power of an integration stage Grand Cultivator. Combining those strikes into the framework of swordsmanship, I maximize their power and unleash them in a single ultimate move. I see Hun One's entire being, and even his domain within his soul, being shredded by the strike. Of course, in exchange, My entire body is being dismantled. I will likely scatter into 7 types of energy and vanish. But this is just a clone, so it doesn't matter. He should blame himself for foolishly using his ultimate move on a clone. Despite accusing me of being a Heart Tribe spy, it seems he has little actual combat experience against them. All the Heart Essence avatars I had imbued into Yuan Yu through his shoulder have disappeared. And I see Hun One, struck by the avatar's ultimate move, right before my eyes. Chia. My body returns to human form. It appears maintaining the giant form with the incomplete 3 great ultimates is too much of a strain on my body. Kagyak Jok Geo Geo. You must not have fought the Heart Tribe much, but even so did you not even think to ask her, your fellow Grand Cultivator, about it. Kurlug Kyoyak Hyak, what are you talking about? Well, never mind, are we going to continue? We yetting. I gather traction force in both hands and ask. My energy has recovered. I can use the great mountain-splitting Emperor technique again. Moreover, if you wish, I can perform the slash you just saw as many times as needed. Of course, it's a bluff. No matter how strong the 4-axis stage body is, delivering the first step before the throne strike 22 times consecutively is extremely difficult. Even though it isn't completely impossible to use it to some extent other than 22 times, expecting the same power as before is unrealistic. Above all, the biggest problem is Jinra, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. The moment I recognized that name, I was engulfed in immense fear. It's them, that existence. The being that exudes a determination as immovable as a great mountain. One of the 10 seats I saw during my regression. It's definitely them. That is certainly their true name, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. But it's strange. Both Hun One and I should have recognized something terrifying, yet neither of us seemed severely affected. Why? It's clear that Hun One had seen it, too, given that he turned into a pillar of salt. However, he recovered too easily. Moreover, Jinra is undoubtedly a current governing immortal. Yet how can I remain so unaffected even after knowing their true name? When I learned the names of deceased true immortals like Yu Hao Ti and Hein Yong, I was severely affected. Most importantly, Yon Wei casually mentioned the name Jinra. At that point, I begin to get confused. Are they not the owner of the seat I saw during my regression? Is it just a name that exudes similar energy? In any case, the crucial point is that I can no longer delay. If I drag it out any further, I don't know what kind of existence would notice me. Do you want to continue, Pinglai Palace Lord? Payet. Light bursts forth from both arms, and salt begins to emerge. Hun One flinches at this sight and grits his teeth before speaking. Fine, I will keep my promise, go. A wise decision. I nod and immediately begin moving with Jian Myohun and Hong Fan. Hun One groans as he heals his ravaged body with the energy of the Heaven-Earth Central Territory. Kuog, damn it, if it weren't for the seizure of the supervisory eye. He groans, clutching his eyes. The character for supervision, Chinese letter, in both of Hun One's eyes are burning exceptionally brightly. Heavenly King, Heavenly Domain. Within a palace of light where radiance of all colors converge. Under the seat of radiance, 8 shadows are gathered. The 8 colossal beings communicate with one another using metaphysical language. Each time they exchange words, the light of the entire heavenly domain fluctuates. In front of the throne they reside. An entering nirvana true person in the form of a peng bird flies in. Though even one wing of the peng bird is originally large enough to cover a continent, it appears no bigger than a small sparrow before the shadows. To the honorable ones I bring a message. While observing the Earth-axis heavenly domain, the mountain god has sent a message. The 8 shadows converse in metaphysical language for a moment before one speaks to the entering nirvana true person in the language of the lower world, to prevent them from going mad. Speak. Yes, the mountain god has said, I will descend to the sun and moon heavenly domain. The true person struggles to not directly face the 8 shadows and delivers the message. A commotion arises among the 8 shadows. The entire heavenly king heavenly domain trembles. One of the shadows, mindful of preventing the entering nirvana true person from going mad, asks, Is that all? Yes, I apologize, but after delivering that message, they began exerting their power in the Earth-axis heavenly domain. It seems they intend to descend to the sun and moon heavenly domain at any moment. Relay that it is forbidden, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Also, ask if they are unaware of the matter of heavenly punishment. Pardon. The entering nirvana true person is startled by the command from the shadows to deliver such a message. Considering the temperament of the mountain god, it's akin to telling the true person to go and die. Nevertheless, the entering nirvana true person grits their beak and nods. I will obey the command. The peng bird then leaves the throne of light. How much time has passed? The peng bird does not return. The shadows communicate in metaphysical language once more. The gist of their conversation is roughly as follows. The messenger bird has not returned. It must have been killed by that tyrant. Do they truly wish for the radiant supreme deity to take action? No matter how powerful the mountain god is, do they not know that without being a heavenly venerable, they cannot compare to the seat of light? This might be for the best. Does the mountain god not have an old grudge with us that needs to be resolved? Must we imprison another supreme deity? It's a laborious task. We already warned 40,000 years ago that interference in the sun and moon heavenly domain is forbidden. It's already been 120,000 years since the power of light was last shown. It seems everyone is underestimating the owner of light. It's about time for the owner of light to act. The 8 shadows look up at the seat of light above them. As the owner of light has decreed, we shall convey to the mountain god. Shortly after, the 8 shadows disappear from the hall. Only the seat of light continues to emit an even brighter radiance from above. Flinching, I suddenly look up at the sky. For some reason, I feel a chill run down my spine, but as the sunlight brightens, the ominous feeling that had brushed past me fades away. What was that? It passed too quickly for me to dwell on, but I decide to remain vigilant. One might suddenly chase after me from behind, the mad lord might emerge from the ground, or Cohl. Ho ho, greetings, Taoist Co. Yes, actually I was about to call you. I look at Cohl, who has approached me at some point with an unpleasant smile. Ho ho, it's impressive that you noticed my concealment technique. By the way, you've reached the 4-axis stage already. Hong Fan Jian Myohun, cover your ears for a moment. They obediently cover their ears at my words. I look at Cohl, who has appeared in front of me with a disturbing laugh. In my past life, he only came when I called, but now he spoke to me first without my beckoning. The reason is obvious. Are you surprised that the tainted soul filling the heavens within me has disappeared? Cohl. Freeze. Cohl's body stiffens. If you want, I'll give you another chance. Try again. You can sacrifice a few personalities if needed. I spread my arms and speak nonchalantly. Then Cohl's eyes turn into those of a reptile. Ho ho. If he tries to parasitize me again, I can incinerate him with the karmic fire burning within me. If he doesn't attempt to parasitize me out of caution, I can manipulate him as I wish. You've enjoyed using others for a long time, haven't you, Cohl? Now it's my turn. // Discord https://dsc.gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 329, Axis 3. Translator, Translating Novice. Editors, Z0rel Blue Mango Adat. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. A brief standoff occurs between Cohl and me as we lock eyes. Cohl seems to gaze at me for a moment before smiling faintly. Ho ho, you seem to be a fellow Taoist. As expected, is Taoist Co also someone from above? He chuckles and points towards the sky. Above, you say? I shrug, pretending not to understand, and Cohl chuckles as if to say not to joke around. Ho ho, I came here knowing everything, Taoist. Since you've come to the Saha world, it would be wise to accept my help. If you know about tainted soul filling the heavens, you would know that as long as it exists, this world revolves around me. He extends his hand towards me with a gentle expression. An immortal art that makes the world move according to my desire. As Taoists should already know, as long as this immortal art exists, it's overwhelmingly advantageous to join forces with me, no matter what your goal is. Ho ho, please tell me, what is your purpose here? But I scoff. So you're not even going to attempt brainwashing? Ho ho, attempting to use immortal arts recklessly on someone of your standing could lead to serious trouble, would it not? As I look at Cohl, I roll my eyes. I feel it. Having experienced COHVL before, I know. His configuration is imprinting itself in me. At this rate, I will be consumed by COHVL at some point, just like in my previous life. If it weren't for me falling and escaping COHVL's grasp once, I would never have noticed. So this thing you're imprinting now, should I think of it as a communication device? COHVL flinches slightly at my words, then smirks. As expected, you figured it out right away. Stop joking around. If you want to genuinely collaborate, show some sincerity. I speak coldly, glaring at COHVL. He laughs as if he can't help it. Ho ho, I apologize. As you know, I have a bit of a playful nature. Who are you? I am Blood Yin. Oh, Blood Yin. I squint my eyes. Does a guy who calls himself Blood Yin not even sense the karmic fire burning in my soul? What an absurd statement. Of course, I know this guy has some kind of relationship with Blood Yin, who is suspected to be a leftover of Yu Hao Ti. He mainly uses devilish arts that originate from Blood Yin. I reply with a sardonic smile. It's the first time I've heard that the Blood Yin originating from the noble Yu Hao Ti is playful. Ho ho, it seems my personality changed a bit after I got a new name. I glare at COHVL, feeling the configuration still writing and expanding its domain within my mind. I have one question, COHVL. If he takes over my soul, he will immediately be burned by karmic fire, and if he doesn't, I can manipulate him accordingly. I ask without feeling any urgency. What do you think about the Chinra, Chinese letter? At my question, COHVL asks back as if confused. Who are you referring to? You call yourself Blood Yin and don't even know Chinra. At my question, COHVL smiles brightly. Ho ho, of course I know, but as you know, they are not something I can mention carelessly, no. COHVL points, above again, as if hinting at some secret, but I find it ridiculous. So he's basically saying, I don't know what you're talking about, so let's just skip this part because it's difficult to talk about it here, huh? I smile even more sarcastically and speak. Then, you must also not know much about the events related to the governing immortals 40,000 years ago. Ho ho, governing immortals. Yes, the governing immortals. Those beings higher than the netherworld's chief judge, nether devil true lord Yu Hao Ti, reincarnation judge, nether ghost true lord Yu Su Ryon, and deputy judge ancient force true lord Hein Yong. The heavenly venerable of the underworld, who dispatched the tribunal, including the lofty dragon true person, to the sun and moon heavenly domain, the heavenly venerable who opposes the heavenly venerable of the underworld, Sao Tree heavenly venerable, and those other great and honorable seat holders. Mentioning great beings will inevitably draw their attention. However, considering that I already encountered the heavenly venerable of the underworld when meeting Yang Sujin's remnant thoughts by this point, he will undoubtedly be watching me already. And regarding the Sao Tree heavenly venerable, trusting in Yu Hao Ti's words of their generous and lenient nature, and knowing that they fear the heavenly venerable of the underworld, I mentioned them believing that since the heavenly venerable of the underworld is already watching me, the Sao Tree heavenly venerable would not do anything to me. I feel like my head could explode at any moment, but I can endure it because I had built my resistance to these names in my previous life. However, COHVL only smiles for a long time in response to my words and remains silent. What's the matter, self-proclaimed Blood Yin Taoist? I smile sardonically and approach COHVL, placing my hand on his shoulder. If you are truly Blood Yin, are they not your dear superiors? Listening a little more about governing immortals might. At that moment, clench. COHVL suddenly reaches out and grabs my shoulder. Flinch. I'm startled, but at the same time, a triumphant smile spreads across my face. Have you made up your mind, COHVL? Well, I understand. You truly are a true immortal. Chajajajajaj. Serious light flickers in COHVL's eyes. I have always regarded you as a subject of vigilance, but now I must elevate you to a target of danger. Indeed, he's decided to brainwash me. Go ahead, COHVL. Brainwash me completely and burn in the karmic fire. I smile faintly, having laid a trap for COHVL. I can feel it. Through the configuration COHVL imprinted in me, COHVL's personalities begin to infiltrate within me. I first protect my heart essence and hide it deep within the depths of my mind. Simultaneously, as I become immobilized, Coatrial reaches out to my head. The observing Jian Myohoon and Hong Fan try to intervene, but Coatrial does not stop. Clench. He places his hand on my head. Personalities of the tainted soul, filling the heavens, rush to infiltrate my body. Through those personalities, Coatrial begins speaking to me. Since my goal is to surpass them, anyway I will test it through you. Coatrial, who grasps my head, starts pouring energy into it. The energy enters through the Beihui point, piercing the center of my brain where the pituitary gland is, then circles my upper dantian once before erupting through my glabella. It's a familiar, mind-awakening spell. Originating from the Black Ghost Valley, it was transmitted to the Sea Dragon tribe, with whom they had fought for many years, and from there to the Makli clan and Jin clan influenced by them. It was associated with talent awakening, and fundamentally served as a spell that clears the mind cast in the Sea Dragon Palace. Why use a mind-clearing spell during brainwashing? I see. I now finally understand why Coatrial used such a mind-clearing spell. This spell isn't to clear the mind of the brainwashing target. It's a spell to clear and strengthen the mind of Coatrial's personality, formed within the target's mind. I see. Tainted soul filling the heavens is an immortal art that replaces the target with oneself. Depending on the situation, it could implant multiple personalities, 2, 3, even dozens. When brainwashing a powerful target, it aims to clear and strengthen the minds of the multiple implanted personalities to quickly dominate the target's mind. The reason such a spell was set up in the Sea Dragon Palace is obvious. It was to easily implant the tainted soul filling the heavens on anyone entering the Sea Dragon Palace. And I realized that Coatrial is genuinely expending a significant number of personalities from the hundred of millions he possesses. This bastard. Jade. Grade 1 dangerous entity identified. Commencing brainwashing. Attempting to consume 400 cells. This is somewhat dangerous. Kugagugaguk. A tiny fraction of the hundreds of millions of Coatrials. Merely 400 or so, but these personalities are all being systematically implanted into me, sacrificing themselves to replace me with Coatrial, with the replaced Coatrial's mind gradually clearing. Kagagugugu. Although I haven't collapsed yet, the domain of my heart essence begins to shake, and I realize that if the number of implanted Coatrial personalities exceed 1,000, even my heart essence world wouldn't be guaranteed. No. But at the same time, through contact with Coatrial's tainted soul filling the heavens, I realize that there is something even more truly frightening. Coatrial's tainted soul filling the heavens is still incomplete. There is still one condition left for the true, tainted soul filling the heavens to activate, and I can sense that Coatrial hasn't triggered that condition yet. Chills. Haha, how spine-chilling, this damned guy. Coatrial, who at some point already imprinted his configuration into Jian Myohoon's brain, is using Jian Myohoon to subdue Hong Fan while slowly brainwashing me. And the proportion of Coatrial within my soul exceeds 70%. Crackle. I faintly hear the sound of embers sparking. I smile within my heart essence. Come on, feel it. Crack, trackle. Coatrial flinches and shudders. My karmic fire clings to Coatrial, who is trying to seize me. Last time, he severed the connection with tainted soul filling the heavens while being wary of me, but this time, fully determined to brainwash me, Coatrial himself directly connected the tainted soul filling the heavens to me. My karmic fire originally only burns me. It doesn't particularly transfer to others. However, Coatrial is trying to steal me to make me become him. Thus, the karmic fire begins to transfer directly to Coatrial, to his tainted soul filling the heavens. Kuagh. Jian Myohoon screams. The karmic fire nested in his mind ignites. The one who had subdued Hong Fan is now being supported by Hong Fan, while I laugh as I watch Coatrial start to burn fiercely in front of me. Coatrial, with karmic fire clinging to his tainted soul filling the heavens, can't overcome his own terrible karmic sins and falls away from me. Kulegs ho. You're still laughing, huh? How disgusting. I smirk as I regain control of my body with my eyes glowing. Coatrial's configurations, still burning, lingers within my mind. But Coatrial hastily severs the connection between tainted soul, filling the heavens, and the personalities imprinted in my mind. However, I smirk again. Have a taste of the vile heart tribe. Surung. It's interesting. The heart tribe's first step before the throne and Coatrial's tainted soul, filling the heavens, have similarities. They are quite similar in the sense that both can imprint themselves onto their opponent. I forge my heart essence, holding the heart essence avatar of myself, imbued with Coatrial's configurations in my hand. All Heaven's Sword. Single strike. Boing. The All Heaven's Sword pierces Coatrial at a speed he can't even react to, embedding itself inside him. And then I forcibly reconnect the burning configurations of Coatrial, within it to Coatrial's tainted soul, filling the heavens. Kuwarg. Coatrial trembles in pain while starting to retrieve the 4-5 blessings axes of health, wealth, longevity, and love of virtue within his body. It seems he is trying to disconnect this body entirely from the tainted soul filling the heavens. However, I laugh again. No, you cannot. Because I won't allow it. Kugagugaguk. I use the wealth axis within me to emit an attraction force. My attraction force captures Coatrial's attraction force, sealing it within his body. Finally, the smile disappears from Coatrial's face. Coatrial hastily forms hand seals and begins to flee. Payet. He who transforms into his original sea dragon form hurriedly tries to escape from me. If he gets far enough from me, he could break the attraction curse I placed on him, reclaim his 5 blessings axes, and sever the connection with tainted soul filling the heavens to stop the spread of the karmic fire. However, I smile coldly. I told you, Coatrial. A glint shines from my eyes. Flash. In an instant, I become a flash of light. Coatrial tries to escape by even using the ground shrinking technique, but it's useless. Ho-ho-ho. You can't escape. Clench. I quickly lunge and grab Coatrial's tail. He seems to try to sever his own tail, but I invoke the Azure Spirit Starlight Quintessence Great Method. Kuguaguaguaguagua. My body transforms into a giant of stars. I grip his tail and start swinging him around. Wham 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 wham. Kuug. Coatrial seems to attempt using his demon abilities to break free. Boom. I slam him to the ground, still holding onto his tail. Kugagagugugu. The ground shakes violently, causing earthquakes everywhere. Ho-ho, such an attack only tickles me. Oh really, since you seem to like it, I'll tickle you more. Ho-ho. Coatrial opens his mouth and shoots a beam of light at me. Kyugyugyuguan. Indeed, the breath of the dragon race is certainly powerful. I momentarily lose hold of Coatrial, and he starts to flee again. Kyuduk kyujuduk kyujujujuduk. Faces begin to sprout from my shoulders once more. Stop right there. Kyugyugyuguan. I chase after him, the 3 great ultimates glowing behind me. In an instant, we cross the Heaven-Earth Central Territory and traverse through the territories of numerous races. Spirit Scale Race Territory. There I finally caught Coatrial again. Somehow, it seems he has managed to drive out the karmic fire by sacrificing personalities. The karmic fire no longer burns within him. That won't do. Boing. Whack. I swing the All Heaven's Sword again, forcibly reconnecting the karmic fire to his tainted soul, filling the heavens. Kuug. Coatrial's eyes are bloodshot. The karmic fire doesn't just cause him personal pain, it truly harms his tainted soul, filling the heavens. He might really be feeling fear. It won't be easy. Flash. He opens his mouth and shoots a beam of light again. But I don't back down, and from my 38 eyes, I shoot beams infused with ghostly energy in response. Kyugyugyuguan. The beams we emit shake the territory of the Spirit Scale Race. The Spirit Scale Race members in the area scream and flee in all directions. Hua and monsters are fighting. Just what race is that? Damn it, is that monster hunting the sacred dragon race to eat? Just run, or we'll be eaten too. To an onlooker, it might certainly look like a malevolent starry giant with 19 heads hunting a blue dragon, but such trivial matters are none of my concern. I grab Coatrial by the neck and bring him close to my face. Coatrial, do you not wish to learn more about the governing immortals? You not have any interest in the vast cold, heavenly lord, or the purple gold, heavenly lord. If you wish, I can tell you more about the tribunal of the netherworld. Yu Hao Ti, Yu Su Rion Hei Nyon. Are you not curious about the salt pillar in the head realm? I have the astronomical data observed from the head realm, interpreted through the understanding before breakthrough insights of the heaven tribe methods. Let me tell you about it. I also have knowledge gained from directly facing heavenly punishment. Whisper, 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 whisper. Grabbing the bastard's head so he can't escape, I endlessly whisper great knowledge with my 19 heads. Coatrial struggles like mad to escape from me, but he can't escape from someone who inherited the teachings of Azure Tiger Saint. At the same time, with my heart essence burrowing all heaven's sword, I begin to dig through the depths of his tainted soul filling the heavens. I'll find it. I tear into the depths of his tainted soul filling the heavens, to find the real clue that will completely overthrow Coatrial's tainted soul filling the heavens. And just then, this is, I sense it, at the center of the tainted soul filling the heavens. There is something there. Hidden in the deepest, darkest depths, I can feel what he desires to conceal. That is, I see Coatrial. My 38 eyes glow with glint. I see you have a main body, don't you? Somewhere in this world, Coatrial's main body exists. No, should I even call it his main body? There exists a central point, around which all the personalities of his tainted soul filling the heavens revolve. I can instinctively feel it. If I destroy this central point, his tainted soul filling the heavens will scatter. And then Coatrial's expression, which has been trying to maintain a playful smile, completely changes. Expressionless. He looks at me with eyes devoid of any emotion. Very well, I have lost. Then, Kyojujujuduk. His body begins to transform. A scarlet blood mist envelops him. Coatrial transforms from the appearance of a divine sea dragon into the shape of a devilish monster, Chinese letter, emitting a red-black aura in an instant. Chuarururuk. Coatrial's body stretches and extends, wrapping around me like a rope. Since the mad Lord Joyon. Crack. Coatrial, wrapping around my body, speaks in an emotionless voice. No one has ever disrupted my plans as much as you have. From now on, I will devise plans to destroy you along with Joyon. Rejoice. Haha, do as you wish. I laugh, staring into his eyes. I will find your main body. With my eyes blazing with ghost fire, I meet Coatrial's gaze, which emanates devilish energy. I will find your main body and utterly annihilate you. Because of Coatrial, because of his schemes, how many lives have been ruined? Joyon Gyrion Siran. He even tried to make his own subordinate, Yuan Li, into a puppet. And because of that Yuan Li, I lost too much. Raid 1 dangerous entity Co Yun Hyan. Thanks to you, my plans will be delayed by thousands of years. The 5 blessings axes will be abandoned. Kagagugu. I feel it. This is certainly dangerous. The 5 blessings axes within Coatrial are emitting light. Drawing upon the power of the 3 great ultimates, I fill my hands with black and white energy. Flash. Coatrial detonates all of his 5 blessings axes, and I counter his self-destruction at the cost of my cultivation with the great mountain-splitting emperor technique. This time, the barrier of yin-yang and 5 elements protects me. Finally, I've got a clue on how to destroy you, Coatrial. While self-destructing and channeling the energy of his self-destruction towards me, I can feel Coatrial's will to destroy me. Just like in the previous cycle, when I felt Coatrial's determination to unquestionably destroy the Mad Lord when he went for the confirmation kill on the Mad Lord who suffered at the hands of Jang Ik, I can now see his unwavering resolve to eliminate me by any means necessary. Yes, I have finally become Coatrial's equal adversary. / */ Discord https://dsc.gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 330, Axis 4. Translator, Translating Novice. Editors, Z0 Rel Blue Mango Adat. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Light fades away, and I realize that my body is in shambles. Damn, I feel like I'm going to die. However, I feel as if my spirits are soaring. I can tell. Cohreal has truly suffered significant damage from me. Although he's someone who never speaks the truth, it's true that his plans have been greatly delayed. Since he sacrificed the 5 blessings axes he cherished so much, he will be running around to retrieve them again. Given the damage inflicted on him by the karmic fire, he won't be able to show his face or act openly for a long time. Cough, cough. I collapse to the ground, vomiting blood. In the distance, I can sense the presence of several spirit scale race members. It seems they are coming to investigate, as the presence of the monsters has faded. I don't have the strength to even move a finger. The spirit scale race isn't particularly friendly with the human race, so it would be quite troublesome if they capture me. Of course, I have means to escape even in my weakened state, but I continue to stay down. Qarurung. Red lightning flashes as Jian Myohun clicks his tongue in irritation. This bastard, can't you at least say something before you act? The karmic fire attached to Cohreal through me has already gone out within Jian Myohun. The karmic fire is originally meant to burn only me. It was only due to the peculiar situation of Cohreal trying to take over my very existence that it burned others. Hence, it isn't strange that the fire has already been extinguished within Jian Myohun. Hong Fan, who has flown in with Jian Myohun, helps me up. We'll head to the human race territory first, but we should perform some emergency treatment before that. What emergency treatment? A good night's sleep will fix everything. If you rely solely on your vitality just because you've reached the 4-axis stage, you'll end up in trouble. Hong Fan takes out some poison liquids from his storage scroll and mixes something on the spot before pouring it into my mouth. Instantly, I feel life force surging through my body and accelerated regeneration. As expected from Hong Fan, who reached the pinnacle in dealing with medicinal poisons, the efficacy of his concoction is remarkable. Now that the treatment is done, let's get out of here. It's risky to stay in another race's territory for too long. Jian Myohun grabs both Hong Fan and me by our necks and uses the flying escape technique. Qarurung. We are enveloped in a streak of red lightning, flying towards the human race territory. A week passes like that. We arrive at the human race territory and officially register our reascension at Temporal Fate Island. Jian Myohun, using his authority as Grand Elder of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect, officially lifts my bounty. Then we head towards Thunder Spirit Island. Qarurung. In my past life, I was assimilated by Cohreal and lived in Co Li's body, so I couldn't find it. Together with Jian Myohun, I head to the ruins of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect on Thunder Spirit Island, to the place where Hong Suryong had died. Though the funeral was held in the lower realm, her remains are actually here. Stomp stomp. Perhaps it's because I returned her to the soil with the Yin Soul Ghost incantation. There's no body at the place where Hong Suryong had died. I brushed the soil where she had died. This soil is her remains. Jian Myohun went to find Jin Sohei's cave residence, and Hong Fan gave us some space for privacy. Creek. Using a wood attribute spell, I create a wooden shovel and slowly dig into the ground, burying the soil infused with her body. I then create a small mound and sit in front of it, pouring a drink. It's been a while, I'm back. Drip. Come to think of it, this is something I should have done immediately upon returning in my past life. But because of Cohreal, I didn't even think about it and passed it by. Is it comfortable there? There's no response. I hope the death god is kind to others, even if he is harsh with us. I wish for your peace after death. Rambling might seem pathetic and unsightly, but maybe such pathetic things are necessary in the life of humans. I ramble and complain for a while in front of her grave. A ghost's resentment accumulates because it cannot be conveyed to the living. Perhaps it's because I am also a ghost who can't die even after death. Just rambling to Hong Suryong like this makes me feel a bit lighter. Evening comes. I finally finish my rambles. Anyway, a lot has happened. There's no response. But even though I feel sadness, my heart is at peace. Since the regression point was fixed, my connection with Hong Suryong did not vanish beyond time. It didn't disappear into nothingness. I bid farewell to Hong Suryong and leave the place of her mound. Hyang Hwa. What if the regression point had been fixed after her death? Though she wouldn't be alive and moving, the buck Hyang Hwa that shared a connection with me wouldn't disappear. Suddenly, I remember the feeling Seo Lee left me with in my past life, the emotions he felt for me. Even if his body becomes soil, his soul will regress and endlessly repeat life. Even if his body remains here, his soul will move to another time, and he will no longer be able to reminisce about those connections that remember him. Only the record stored in the canvas of myriad forms and connections will comfort Seo Yun Hyan, warmly but sorrowfully. Russell. Suddenly, the canvas of myriad forms and connections unfold around me naturally. It's full of cherished memories. To others it might look like empty mist, but to me, they are irreplaceable pillars of my heart. Surug. I reach out to the past figures inside the canvas of myriad forms and connections, those who laughed and chatted, cried and shed tears, and bled and raged. My hand passes through them so emptily. After all, they are just records. I stared at them for a moment, and then I see an annoying gaze inside the canvas of myriad forms and connections. It's Coh Real. Regardless of what happened, he's also in here. Haha, it must be frustrating for Taoist Seo to have created such a terrifying technique and not be able to use it properly, only to suffer from me. Looking at him, then around the canvas of myriad forms and connections, I set my goal for this life. This life, the canvas of myriad forms and connections, shall I uncover its secrets? How did Buck Hyung Hwa connect to my canvas of myriad forms and connections? Is she still inside it somewhere? What exactly is the relationship between it and my immortal beast bloodline? Can the canvas of myriad forms and connections counter Coh Real's tainted soul filling the heavens? There might be a possibility to track his main body through counter-assimilation, so understanding the secrets of the canvas of myriad forms and connections is crucial. And above all, Sarawak, I smile bitterly as I look at my hand, which emptily passes through the scenes in the canvas of myriad forms and connections. The memory of watching the sunset with Kang Min-hee at Namsan, which Seo Lee wanted to remember so much, brushes past me. I will delve deeper into the canvas of myriad forms and connections. Simply watching it is too sorrowful. Just as Seo Lee thought. The canvas of myriad forms and connections is so warm yet also so lonely. To better feel this warmth, even if it's just a little, the primary goal of this life will be to find a way to manifest the power of the canvas of myriad forms and connections externally. It's a goal connected to the issue of my immortal beast bloodline, countering Coh Real's tainted soul filling the heavens, and the matter of Buck Hyung Hwa entering the canvas of myriad forms and connections. As of now, it is the most important issue. Save Kim Yeon as well and Kang Min-hee and Oh Hyun-seok. Now my power is not so lacking. Do I not have at least the qualifications to save those who I want to save? Saving them is not even a goal. Saving them a matter of course, Chinese letter, and doesn't even need to be set as a goal. I rise into the sky and look down towards the direction of Jeon Myo-hoon. He is gazing at the sky with a sentimental expression, gently caressing the wooden box with Jin So-hae's hand in front of her cave residence. Hong Fan. Yes, master. I speak to Hong Fan, who is waiting. I'll be heading to Heavenly Human Island for a while. Tell Jeon Myo-hoon that I've gone to Heavenly Human Island to obtain the Grand Cultivator qualification and give him this method. Yes, I understand. I take out a jade slip from my storage scroll, record the formula for the 6 extremes Yin Thunder body, and hand it to Hong Fan. I'll be back in a few days, so make sure he reaches great achievement by then. It appears to be quite a high-level method. If it's a lightning path method, there's nothing the current Jeon Myo-hoon can't learn. Considering that there are things Jeon Myo-hoon must accomplish with the 6 extremes Yin Thunder body, it's better for him to learn it in advance. After giving a few more instructions to Hong Fan, I prepare to head to Heavenly Human Island. Jayla. Then I feel goosebumps all over my body once again. What is it? Looking up at the sky, the evening sunset glow seems to brighten alongside the distant rising moonlight. As the light grows brighter, the sensation fades. It's definitely the same feeling I had before meeting Coh Real. Is Coh Real up to something again, or is it something else? Keeping my guard up, I continue towards Heavenly Human Island. Earth Tribe True Dragon Alliance. Hyun Eum's cave residence. Hyun Eum, who has transformed into his true form and is meditating, suddenly opens his eyes wide. A subtle bloodlight, Chinese letter, emanates from Hyun Eum's eyes. The main body is communicating. What's going on? Well, Hyun Eum seems to gaze towards somewhere momentarily. Then, upon recognizing the signal coming from a distant place, his eyes narrow sharply. What? Those beings are going to war, to prevent that from descending upon the sun and moon domain. Fear fills Hyun Eum's eyes. Wararek. Instantly transforming from his dragon form into his human form, Hyun Eum clenches his trembling fists. His hands are already drenched in cold sweat. Those ominous beings fighting each other. It's good news. Even if one side wins, the other won't be able to exert their power for a while. It's a good thing. He tries to calm his trembling voice, forcing himself to imagine a positive outcome, as if trying to overcome his fear. At that moment, Hyun Eum, who seems to be communicating with a distant place, suddenly shivers and looks at the void. Wait, main body, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by laying low for a while? Didn't you say you found traces of authority? Wait, don't cut off communication. Main body, at least give me some instructions. But Hyun Eum stops moving his hand that was waving towards the void. After a while, he clenches his fists tightly. Damn it. They said they found traces of authority, and now they want to lay low to avoid the fallout. Seemingly enraged, Hyun Eum suddenly flinches as the moonlight of the deepening night streams into his cave residence, stepping back as if avoiding the light. His hands are trembling like an aspen leaf. Recalling some unpleasant memories, Hyun Eum grits his teeth. That's right, perhaps lying low for a while is a good idea. Ho ho ho. He hides himself in the darkness, breathing heavily. Heavenly Lotus Mountain. At the top, above the white Jade Pavilion. Surrounded by white light, Sacred Master Baek-woon is looking at the sky with a shocked expression. This is insane. They're clashing at the borders. It's fortunate to have become a Sacred Master. The true persons of the astral realm must be screaming in agony by now. Sacred Master Baek-woon, whose hands are trembling, takes a deep breath and forces a bitter smile. This isn't the time to feel relieved. If that tyrant descends, this entire heavenly domain will turn into the Usra path. I must pray for their victory. Hyun Eum and Sacred Master Baek-woon. Other sacred vessel, sacred masters of the middle realms. True persons of the astral realm. Those who know of the true myths are reading the celestial energy, sensing the movements of unfathomable colossal beings, and trembling in fear. Using the flying escape technique to reach Heavenly Human Island, I suddenly turn my gaze downward, just below Heavenly Human Island. Below there is the Grand Nirvana Temple. I debated whether to enter the Grand Cultivator Association then see her, but decided to visit the Grand Nirvana Temple first. First, sparring with her and receiving guidance on the first step before the throne, then stabilizing my realm, and then being properly recognized as a Grand Cultivator would be the best course of action, right? Furthermore, due to preventing Cohl's self-destruction, my Heaven Tribe cultivation decreased, leaving me at the mid-heavenly being stage. If possible, it wouldn't be bad to reach Grand Perfection Heavenly Being using the newly obtained formula for the Grand Perfection stage by Cohl. Now that I'm free from Cohl, I can finally understand. Yang Sujin had said that if one blesses In and Yon, they would receive the blessing of the strongest Ender. But why did I not know of it and only receive the blessing of Heavenly Circle's formula through Cohl's body? The reason is simple. The strongest Ender had blessed Co Yunhyan, not Cohl. At that time, Cohl was much less assimilated by Cohl compared to me, and when he obtained the formula, he hadn't fully differentiated into Cohl but still recognized himself as Co Yunhyan, thus allowing him to obtain it. Everything is all because of Cohl. Thinking about it this way makes me angry again. But it doesn't matter. Cohl should be infuriated as well, having lost the 5 blessings axes because of me. I arrive at the valley where the Grand Nirvana Temple is located. Out of respect for her, I decide to land at the entrance of the valley and walk rather than entering the temple directly. I also retract my consciousness into my body, not wanting to be disrespectful by scouting ahead. It's a sign of respect for a martial artist who has reached such a high realm. As I walk through the valley, I feel something strange. Why are the Tingwa paintings gone? Previously, T. Yoljian had painted Tingwas across the entire valley. But now the valley looks clean. Feeling a sense of strangeness, I walk through the valley. and when I arrive at the site of the Grand Nirvana Temple, I feel a chill down my spine. The temple still exists, but it appears neglected, dilapidated, and crumbling in places. Thorn bushes have grown all around, and the main gate of the temple is on the verge of collapse. It looks like a haunted house. What happened here? I can't hide my dismay as I enter the Grand Nirvana Temple. The main hall, the Grand Nirvana Hall, is on the verge of collapse due to complete neglect, and piles of garbage are scattered everywhere. I venture inside the Grand Nirvana Hall. The interior of the hall where rituals are held for Buddhism is completely rotten, and the roof had caved in from the lack of maintenance. The room where T. Yoljian had served tea to me, and Kim Yon is utterly ruined and in a complete wreck. The once abundant artistic Tingwa paintings are nowhere to be found. At that moment, I suddenly notice a presence somewhere. As I step out of the Grand Nirvana Hall, I hear someone yawning from inside the monks' quarters. I walk to the monks' quarters with hurried steps. Upon closer inspection, I see that the monks' quarters are somewhat maintained and show signs of habitation. Is anyone there? Before entering, I call out towards the presence I feel inside. Bang! Suddenly, the door to the monks' quarters opens. Flinching, a woman with jet black hair is scratching her belly and rubbing her eyes inside. Her hair is disheveled, and it seems she hasn't washed in quite a while as it emits a strange smell. The aura of a nascent soul cultivator emanates from her, likely at the mid-nascent soul stage. Who are you? She looks at me with a sullen face and then flinches. It's a senior. Please excuse this junior for her unkempt appearance. She seems to gauge my cultivation level, and upon sensing my heavenly being's stage spiritual energy, she hurriedly tidies her disheveled hair and hastily straightens her clothes. Please come in. No, this room is a bit. I'll lead you to the guest room. As if flustered, she hastily moves to guide me to an adjacent room next to the monks' quarters. I stare at her with a stern expression. When I glance into the room she came out of, I see a tremendous mess. It's the exact opposite of where the tidy T. Yoljian used to stay. Even the guest room she leads me to seems quite messy, judging by the sounds of frantic cleaning coming from inside for quite some time. After a while, she invites me in. As senior, everything is ready. Please come in. I enter, scrutinizing her face with a stern expression. She lowers her eyes fearfully at my stern gaze. Usually, I would have shown some consideration for a lower-level cultivator, but I'm not in the mood for that now. I sit down and look around. Where's the tea? Pardon? Please forgive me, senior. There used to be a tea that my master used to brew, but due to my neglect, it all rotted away 500 years ago. There are no Tingwa paintings in the room. I apologize, as I haven't received teachings from my master. Actually, I think I have been taught, but as I never practiced it even once, I forgot. Haha. I look sternly at this woman, who bears the same face as T. Yoljian. She has the same face, but everything about her is different. What is your name? Pardon? I don't really have a name. I was abandoned here at the Grand Nirvana Temple when I was young, and my master, who was the head monk, took me in and raised me. Master told me to find my parents when I reached the nascent soul stage and didn't give me a dharma name. But when I reached the nascent soul stage and saw my life's flashbacks, I realized my parents didn't name me either and just abandoned me. Haha. My master used to call me things like rascal-like thing, dirty thing, or lazy thing. Senior, please call me whatever you like. She scratches her head awkwardly as she speaks. I fail to soften my stern expression, and she cringes further at my stern gaze. Take this one move. Boom. I draw the all-heavens sword and launch an attack at her at the plane of soul. But she doesn't even recognize the all-heavens sword, staring blankly at me. Surug. The sword strike from the all-heavens sword passes right through her. If she were T. Yoljian, she would have gladly accepted the strike. But this woman doesn't even perceive it. Who are you? I glare at her and I ask. Could the sudden chill I felt when the moonlight brightened earlier be because of this? Terrified by my glare, her head hits the ground as she trembles. Hi Hiek, spare me, senior. Even though living is meaningless, I don't want to die yet. I think dying would hurt too much. Would you please spare even a bit of mercy? Her past is exactly as I had heard from T. Yoljian. But why is the woman in front of me not the grand cultivator of the first step before the throne, but someone uninterested in Tingwa paintings, who has not even shaved her head as a nun should? Where has her proud demeanor and her simple, unrestrained spirit gone? Is the woman in front of me the strange one? Or was the previous being known as T. Yoljian in the last cycle, an existence somehow possessed by something? Rather than feeling pity for this woman, I am filled with an unknown fear, raising my vigilance to the maximum and ready to end my life at any moment. Glaring at the woman before me, I ask, I have a question. What method have you learned? // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 331, Axis 5. Editors, Z0rel Blue Mango Aderisnut. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 331, Axis 5. Be Buddhist Family Methods. Senior may not have heard of it before. What was it? It's a method system based on beings known as the Seven Brilliances Kings, but it's not a very popular cultivation system, so it's almost obsolete now. It seems that the existence of Buddhist family methods has not completely disappeared. Well, there were temples in the lower realm too. I stare at her for a moment. Fine, let's stop here. I sigh, suppressing my killing intent. It would be impossible for her, T. Yoljian, to be acting while deceiving even her own heart essence. Unlike the previous life's T. Yoljian's heart essence, hers is chaotic and desolate, like the abandoned temple. What do you think of the heart tribe? For example, the heaven-collapsing esteemed one Jang Ik. Oh, you mean the leader of those spies? No matter how you look at it, she isn't T. Yoljian. As I sigh from a headache, I realize I feel a sense of déjà vu from this room. That's right. It's too messy and unmaintained for me to recognize at first. However, this is the room I had come to rest in briefly when I felt dizzy in front of T. Yoljian in the previous cycle. Previously, there had been Tingwa paintings all over this room, but now there are none to be found. While looking around, I find the fairy tale book I had seen before. This fairy tale book is still here. It's a children's book based on the theme of sincerity moves the heaven. Everything symbolizing T. Yoljian, like the Tingwas, have disappeared, but it appears that Buddhist family methods and such fairy tales still remain. Of course, the book itself seems to have been neglected for a long time. It's worn out in many places and has traces of insects having gnawed at it. The table of contents is familiar. A fairy tale that spread from the head realm. There are fairy tales that have spread, slightly changed here and there, throughout the head realm and even in the bright cold realm. Even when I asked Su In and Hong Yon before, they said it was in the true devil realm too, showing that places where people live are all the same. They are fundamentally fairy tales with the lesson that sincerity moves the heaven. I miss my master. These were the fairy tales I found in the library when I sought a way to overcome the 7-star ritual with Chingmun Ryong. They are very nostalgic. Wait. Looking at this fairy tale and the current situation where T. Yoljian disappeared, I remember something similar in the past that had happened before. Wasn't there a similar incident in the past? Jayla? A chill runs down my spine. But for some reason, I can't clearly remember what it is. What is it? Something similar happened before. But I can't recall what it is. Seeing the fairy tale book triggered the memory, so it must be related to this book. Hey. Why yes, senior. I asked this woman from Grand Nirvana Temple. Do you know anything about this fairy tale? Well, aren't they common fairy tales? I once learned the common language of the bright cold realm from my master and read them for fun. They should be in the deep libraries of other sects as well, not just our temple. Actually, they might even be found in ordinary households. Hello? I frown, trying to recall the memory that keeps surfacing in my mind. I feel like I'm about to remember something. Fairy tale book. The vanished T. Yoljian. The strange sense of incongruity. This fairy tale, is it supposed to end at chapter 7? Shouldn't there be a chapter 8? Pardon? Finally, as I'm flipping through the canvas of myriad forms and connections, I remember the source of this incongruity. I've definitely seen a fairy tale book before that went up to chapter 8, not 7. The first story was definitely not something about a carp or whatever. There is a missing fairy tale from this list. That fairy tale is important. She scratches her head and says, I apologize, I'm not really sure. Well, different regions might have their own contents tailored to their own region. Come to think of it, that is true. The environments of the bright cold realm and the head realm are fundamentally different, so what am I even trying to find? Yet I can't shake off this bizarre feeling. Something is off, but I don't know what it is. I can't remember it. Thump, thump, thump. My heart is pounding. I'm shivering. Just what exactly did I forget? Thump, thump, thump. For some reason, I feel a pain in my heart. This is dangerous. I feel chills down my spine. I feel a strong sense that it will be better for my well-being not to think any further. It's different from the time I mentioned the titles of governing immortals to harm Coatrial. An ominous sense of doom coming from deep with my soul dominates me. If I'm not careful, something terrible will happen. Let's not dig any deeper. Maybe when I reach a higher realm, I'll remember. I decide to bury the unremembered memory for now. All right, then I'll be on my way now. After bidding her off, I leave Grand Nirvana Temple with a hardened face. I see. I understand the subtle reaction Hun-Won had when he heard that I will be joining the Grand Cultivator Association. In this cycle, T. Yoljian doesn't exist. Her joining the Grand Cultivator Association and setting a precedent for the Heart Tribe to join has disappeared. Damn it. I understand why Hun-Won let me go so easily. It wasn't just because he lacked the confidence to face me. Although nothing was said in Temporal Fate Island, when I enter Heavenly Human Island, the Grand Cultivators will likely try to capture me. I don't know why, but history itself has been twisted. I have no idea how such a thing is possible. I'm just bewildered. I calm my trembling heart. There's nothing I can do about it anyway. Even if I know that history has been bizarrely twisted, what can I do about it? For now, let's just do what I can. It becomes even clearer to me that I need to hone the power of the canvas of myriad forms and connections. When history twists like this, if I forget about such truths, how terrifying would that be? I need to solidify my own history even more. There's no change in the plan. I will go to the Grand Cultivator Association and be recognized as a Grand Cultivator. Even though the existence of T. Yoljian has disappeared and history has changed, the power I possess hasn't vanished. I leave the Grand Nirvana Temple, head up the valley, and settle on a spot. Let's restore my Heaven Tribe cultivation. After reaching the 4-axis stage, I will reconnect the axis of wealth and advance to the mid-stage. Then, when I enter the Grand Cultivator Association with the genuine 3 great ultimates and declare myself a Grand Cultivator, who will dare to stop me? The precedent is gone. I'll just create a new one. I sit down and gather heaven and earth spiritual energy with my attraction force. As overwhelming celestial energy gathers, to the extent of rumbling thunder, my cultivation that had fallen to the mid-heavenly being stage begins to rise. After facing the heavenly tribulation for the late heavenly being stage again, I prepare my rise to grand perfection heavenly being. It's time to use the Heavenly Circles formula. The new Heavenly Circles formula is as follows. In spring, all things are born. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. In summer, all things are grown. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. In autumn, all things are matured. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. In winter, all things are conserved. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. None are beyond the merits of the 4 seasons. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Spring gives birth to all things. Summer nurtures all things. Autumn matures all things. Winter puts all things to rest again. This is the merit of the 4 seasons, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. The cycle of spring, summer, autumn, winter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, completes the heavenly circle. It is long yet simple at the same time. However, I feel that this formula fits the heavenly circle better than the original acceptance at fate's end. Weighing, the power of the heavenly being cycles within me. Although acceptance at fate's end harmonizes well with the power of the 4-axis, the formula received as a gift of connection, yin and yang, feels complete in the heavenly being stage itself. Although it might not harmonize well with the 4-axis stage, within the same level of the heavenly being stage, this formula is stronger. Wu-Weng. I feel the halo of the heavenly circle behind my nascent soul becoming more distinct. This is ZZT. While contemplating the halo of the heavenly circle, I feel as if thunder has struck my entire body from the top of my head. This is Gugaguguk. A sound like something scratching resonates as the fiercely spinning halo of the heavenly circle seems to separate from the world itself. I knew this feeling. An axis. Weeying. At the same time, the attraction force from my nascent soul becomes even stronger. Indeed, it's another axis. What is an axis? An axis is a kind of nascent soul. However, unlike the nascent soul created during the nascent soul stage, which imprints one's very self, an axis is a nascent soul imprinted with a specific attribute. In other words, it is a nascent soul that maximizes an attribute rather than a personality. The method to obtain an axis through the heterodox axis foundation is to kill a cultivator of the same realm, crush their nascent soul, and compress it into an axis. Since the nascent soul is spiritual power that's on the plane of soul, and not the soul itself, when separated from the soul and compressed within the body, there's no risk of the body being stolen. 1 4-axis cultivator, 100 heavenly being cultivators, or 10,000 nascent soul cultivators can be used to create an axis, but even 100 billion core formation cultivators can't create an axis for this very reason. The standard method to obtain an orthodox axis foundation is to gather a large amount of an attribute's energy, perform a ritual at the plane of chi, and just like creating a nascent soul, elevate it to the plane of soul and then connect it to one's own nascent soul. Hence, an axis has no definite form. It can be a surface, a point, or a three-dimensional object. That is the axis. If a person's nascent soul takes the shape of a person, what shape should the nascent soul of the nature of heaven and earth take? The 5 blessings are a given, and since the 5 elements indeed have no fixed form, every race, every method, and every way of thought has a different way of storing an axis. The demon race might store it in the form of the 5 viscera and 6 bowels, while the heaven tribe might store it in the form of dharma treasures. Of course, as the name axis suggests, many store it in the form of a pillar, but it isn't absolute. The important thing is that while an axis is a type of nascent soul, it is a nascent soul imprinted with an attribute rather than a personality, meaning it can be controlled with the main nascent soul created during the nascent soul stage. But now, my main nascent soul has become an axis. It's an exceedingly bizarre occurrence. But this strange contradiction makes my head ache. Why didn't Seo Lee notice this? He must have cultivated this formula for hundreds of years before me, yet among the insights Seo Lee passed down, there's no mention that the main nascent soul becomes akin to an axis through the new heavenly circle formula. In other words, Seo Lee was unaware that the main nascent soul will transform into an axis. While thinking about the differences between myself and Seo Lee, something flashes through my mind. Heart Chinese letter. That's right. Seo Lee was considerably less adept at handling heart essence compared to me. Although I don't know the exact reason, I feel that this new formula of the heavenly circle is significantly related to the heart. Oh, I see. Weiying, the great desert to Dead Sea, responds so naturally. Seo Lee didn't know it himself, but he was unconsciously applying this formula to the great desert to Dead Sea. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth is a given, but theoretically, it could also seize the spiritual energy of others. That is the great desert to Dead Sea. Though I would never use it in such a way due to my personality, even excluding that, the technique that ravenously devours heaven and earth's spiritual energy to the point of desertifying an area is exactly the great desert to Dead Sea. But if such a convenient devilish art is possible, why haven't other races or sects developed such a devilish art sooner? Seo Lee had unconsciously applied this formula to create the great desert to Dead Sea. As a formula that creates an axis out of the nascent soul, it allows for wielding a vast amount of attraction force, even more so than others of the same realm. It unconsciously uses the attraction force to voraciously absorb heaven and earth's spiritual energy and directly infuse it into the nascent soul. As I observe the nascent soul emitting attraction force within me, I fall into thought. The reason the axis has attraction force is because it itself is a kind of symbol, and thus part of nature. Of course, all objects have attraction force, but the reason an axis has a stronger attraction force is that creating a nascent soul as a symbol maximizes the attraction force within the symbol. Then there arises a problem here. What exactly does this new axis symbolize? Kugagugug. I feel the attraction force emanating from my nascent soul. A formula that allows wielding the power of the four-axis stage within the heavenly being stage. However, it doesn't harmonize with other four-axis stage formulas. It's an extremely peculiar matter. I'll have to investigate this more closely while accumulating more axes. After 7 days and nights, I perform a ritual with the Great Desert to Dead Sea and elevate my heaven tribe cultivation to the four-axis stage. Kurarung. Having withstood the heavenly tribulation, my entire body radiates an immense attraction force, and my eyes gleam. The attraction force obtained with the new formula of the heavenly circle. The attraction force gained upon reaching the four-axis stage. And the attraction force acquired through the axis of wealth following my regression. Additionally, the power exuding from the perfectly harmonized 3 great ultimates. It's clearly at the late integration level. Now, shall I go reclaim the position of a grand cultivator? No precedent is needed. No permission is required. If there is no Yoljian, then I will become the first grand cultivator of the heart tribe. I prepare everything and ascend to Heavenly Human Island. Tadet. Heavenly Human Island is thriving as usual. The voices of bustling cultivators reverberate everywhere, and the markets are bustling with activity. It's when I ascend to the outskirts of Heavenly Human Island, to the marketplace. ZZZT. A tingling killing intent pierces my whole body. Step. I take a step forward and naturally draw my colorless glass sword. My consciousness accelerates so very naturally. Heaven and earth slows down. 3 in front, 2 behind, 1 on the left. My consciousness quickly sweeps the surroundings. Passers-by passing by me. A Dharma treasure vendor selling a compass-shaped Dharma treasure to customers. An artist under a canopy, painting and receiving money while avoiding the sunlight. Hyung Guai, walking around with a snack in his mouth, chatting with other members of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect as if on a mission. Seeing Hyung Guai startles me a bit, but it appears like a coincidence, so I set him aside for now. These people are within a 2 zhang radius of me. Up to 5 zhang away, there are children running around, a group of cultivators examining flying sword magic artifacts, a body cultivator promoting body refining methods, and a flock of low-level spirit beasts resembling pigeons fluttering their wings as they take flight. In a fleeting moment, in a brief instant where even calling it feeding is insufficient, I imprint everything within a 5 zhang radius into my mind. But it isn't enough. The range of a martial artist expands even further. 10 zhang. An old man carrying a flower basket, looking around. A man testing a chariot-shaped Dharma treasure. A child reading a method book while holding an apple in one hand. A couple holding hands and laughing happily. An old woman at the core formation stage with a resigned expression as if she has little time left. I calculate even the trajectory of every dust particle they kick up into my sword path. 20 zhang. 30 zhang, 40 zhang, 100 zhang. Chwag. With a speed that seems to match light, I gradually read every movement within my domain while grasping the starting form. A world where time slows down due to acceleration. The world seems to darken. Within that my eyes gleam fiercely. And then, flash, the leader of the human race Grand Alliance, a Grand Perfection Integration Stage Grand Cultivator, and head of the Grand Cultivator Association, Jun Yi, using the flying escape technique, dashes towards me like a streak of light in the frozen world. Got you, Heart Tribe Spy. I move my sword with a bitter smile. All 6 Grand Cultivators of the Human Race Grand Alliance, excluding Hunwon, come at me. The Grand Cultivator battle, Chinese letter, has begun. Translator notes, all 7 fairy tales have roots in Korean Chinese folk tales. For example, the goblin's hat, in the appearance of a tangent, is from a traditional Korean folk tale of a poor man who got a goblin's hat that allowed his body and other objects that would identify him to become invisible. The man would then use the invisibility to steal from others to gain wealth. // Discord https://dsc.gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 332, Old Monsters Rampage 1. Editors, Z0rel Blue Mango Aderisnut. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 332, Old Monsters Rampage 1. Payet. A beam of light engulfs everything. Jun Yi is renowned, a genius who reached the integration stage in just 5,000 years. A prodigy of metal Chinese letter attribute methods, and along with Hun Wan and Gal Meek, a monster symbolizing the human race's martial prowess. Quadjijijik. Golden scales sprout all over Jun Yi's body as he swings his hand at me. Thud. I neutralize the power with the All-Heaven sword, contain Jun Yi's force within it, and then use that very power to repel Jun Yi. He makes an irritated expression and reaches out towards me. Quadjijik. As if space itself twists, I suddenly find myself caught in Jun Yi's grasp. Simultaneously, Gal Meek, clad in pure white bone armor from head to toe, descends upon me from above. I twist my body in midair, positioning Jun Yi's body in front of Gal Meek, and quickly retreat to escape his grip. Quaying. Jun Yi fails to dodge Gal Meek's attack in time, and Gal Meek strikes him. An enormous shockwave seems to echo, and Jun Yi's body plummets through heavenly human island, crashing into the ground below. Egu, that must hurt. The next moment, Gal Meek rushes at me while extending their fist. It'll be dangerous if that hits. Thud thud. In a split second, I slash their elbow with my sword and infuse an energy wave. I then strike their palm to maximize the force of the energy wave through their elbow. Quang. Their arm explodes in midair before it can even touch me. Quang. Kug. However, despite not making direct contact, the sheer resulting pressure blasts me out of heavenly human island. Gal Meek. Kuaya. They roar like a beast, infusing energy into the bone armor that envelops their entire body. A tail made of bone sprouts from the armor. Claws resembling those of a beast emerge from the bone armor on their arms. Gal Meek, a late integration stage loose cultivator, is, like Hun Wan and I, a heaven and earth dual cultivation practitioner. Due to this, they are considered on par with grand perfection integration cultivators like Jun Yi, making them one of the representatives of the human race's martial prowess, that is, Gal Meek. Their self-created heaven and earth dual cultivation method, bone armor treasured origin art Chinese letter, is notorious for extracting the bones of defeated enemies, storing them within their body, and fusing them with their own body when needed. It's a bizarre technique where until their bone armor is completely shattered, it's almost impossible to inflict any wounds on them. But perhaps furious over their arm being destroyed by my earlier attack, they gather strength in their entire body and prepare to leap at me. Just as I'm about to take my stance, an overwhelming force presses down on me. Quadjujujuduk. Jun Yi. From below heavenly human island. Jun Yi, who had been driven into the ground by Gal Meek's strike, re-emerges and presses down on me with his strength. How sturdy, to be unscathed after taking a strike from a heaven and earth dual cultivation practitioner. As I think this, Gal Meek leaps at me again, swinging their bone-armored hand. Quaying. A tremendous force strikes my body. But in the next moment, Gal Meek emits a startled intent. Wowung. It's because of my hand gripping their arm. From my forearm, which begins to shine with starlight, an immense force erupts. Simultaneously, ghostly energy surges from my entire body, revealing 19 heads. Tug-tug-tug. Blood tears fall from each of the 19 heads, blooming into black blood tears flowers. Realizing something is wrong, Gal Meek tries to pull away, but I grip their arm tightly, nearly crushing it as I speak. Where do you think you're going? Kaya. Uhaya. Huaya. As the black blood tears flowers bloom, unbearable screams fill heaven and earth. Gal Meek, realizing the danger, cuts off their bone armor like a lizard shedding its tail, and barely escapes the range of my curse. Chua. The bone armor quickly rots and melts away under the power of the curse. Chidijik. Circuits are engraved all over my body. Quadjijik. Once again, Jun Yi tries to restrain me from afar, pressing me down with his attraction force. I look at Jun Yi and step into the air. Paling. In the next moment, I'm right in front of Jun Yi. With the all-heaven sword overlaid on my arm, I swing at him with all my might. Kugwagwagwang. The ground trembles. Below heavenly human island. In the valley where the grand Nirvana temple is located, I see a nascent soul stage cultivator screaming and running away with all her might. The ground cracks in several places, and the mountains and fields are being reshaped. Chua. Shockwaves spread throughout the entire Cloud Island archipelago that's covered in mist and clouds, tearing the clouds into a circular pattern. Sturdy. However, I frown as I see Junyi standing there unfazed despite taking my full-powered strike. Golden armor encases Junyi's body like scales, and from that armor emanates a magnetic field. Did he use the magnetic field as armor to diffuse the impact? Those who practice metal attribute methods have a much stronger attraction force than others. Among the 5 elements, metal is expressed by Kaiyan Chinese letter and Dui Chinese letter in the 8 trigrams. Kaiyan is Yang Chinese letter, so in yin-yang, yang energy or light Chinese letter is synonymous with metal. In the 5 elements, earth is expressed by the Kun trigram and the Jin trigram, meaning ground and mountain. In the 5 elements, wood is represented by the Zhen trigram and the Zun trigram, meaning lightning and wind. Ground and mountain, lightning and wind are all recognized attributes. Then what does the Dewey trigram represent? Dewey represents a pond. In short, it signifies a pond attribute. So some might wonder, what on earth does pond attribute mean? Quadjijijik. Kuwarg. Utilizing the immense magnetic force derived from the metal attribute, Junyi directs an overwhelming gravitational force onto me. Quadjujuduk. The ground caves in, and in an instant the place where I stand turns into an enormously deep basin. Just add water and it becomes a pond. The Dewey trigram. In other words, the pond attribute is just an indirect way to describe the magnetic force of the metal attribute. I'll turn you into a meatball, you heart tribe spy. Wanting to turn me into a Seo Yunhaian meatball, Junyi's gravity concentrates on a single point. However, I lift my 19 heads and ignite ghost fire. Flinching. Junyi recalls at my fierce gaze. Kugagugug. From the depths of the enormous gravitational pit, I begin climbing up by digging my hands into the pit walls. Crazy, he's moving within that, this monster-like guy. Quang. Galmeek lands beside Junyi. Focusing their strength on their bone armor, they transform it. Crunch. The shape of their bone armor changes. Galmeek, who has transformed their bone armor into a muscular beast-like form, nods at Junyi. All right, go ahead, hold on. At that moment, Wai Rionxian and Wai Su arrive at the scene using the flying escape technique. Wai Su appears to be casting some sort of spell on Gal Meek's bone armor. Accepting Wai Su's spell, Gal Meek nods and drops down into the basin below. Quang. They extend both feet towards me trying to climb up, kicking me in the face. I try to withstand it, but in the end, I fall back down into the basin. Gal Meek cracks their neck from side to side and says, "Come at me, you spy." Heh, so you're confident in your raw strength too, huh? Kiyeving. The circuit begins to run fiercely as it begins to glow. My 19 heads illuminate as my entire body is covered in starlight. We each take a step towards each other. Crunch, crunch, crunch. With each step, my foot sinks into the ground due to Junyi's gravity. And finally, when we reach in front of each other. Huarurururu. Wai Rionxian swings his fan, turning the basin below into a sea of fire. Simultaneously, Wai Su blows wine downwards like a bellow, creating an immense inferno in the basin below. It's a flame that could burn an ordinary 4-axis stage, Cultivator's very soul. But I smirk. What's this, bathwater? For someone like me, whose soul is already being roasted by karmic fire, this heat is no more than lukewarm tea. Though my skin is blistering and cooking, it doesn't hurt much, so I just laugh in Gal Meek's direction. They appear unaffected by the flames, likely protected by Wai Su's spell. Seeing my nonchalance, they burst into a hollow laugh as if feeling incredulous. Crazy bastard, do you not feel pain? As if... Boing. I swing my fist at Gal Meek. The bone armor around their head is sliced off. Gal Meek regenerates their bone armor and swings their fist towards me as well. Pop. One of my heads shatters, and I'm left with a wound from Gal Meek's punch. They squint at the sword wound, looking annoyed through the gaps of their bone armor. Damn heart tribe brat. You practice heaven and earth dual cultivation, yet you're so fragile. Boing. I swing my hand at them again. Chwak. A sword wound etches itself onto Gal Meek's body. We exchange blows. No matter how much we accelerate, the insane gravity slows our movements, making it inevitable that we get hit. I inflict sword wounds on them, and they shatter my heads. Crack. Ho. It seems that Regression's flames are not meant to roast me, but to deplete the surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy, as no more spiritual energy is flowing in. On the other hand, Galmeek in front of me still looks vigorous because they have a lot of heaven and earth spiritual energy stored within their body. Next, Yung-Yon and Gi-Jin join the fray from above. Kagagugu. Yung-Yon's Dharma treasure, the heaven-earth demon-subduing pagoda, falls from the sky. Kyueng. The heaven-earth demon-subduing pagoda grows enormous, increasing its weight over my head as if trying to crush me to death. Gi-Jin takes out a cauldron-shaped Dharma treasure and opens its lid. Chuarirararuk. The liquid contained in the cauldron spills into the basin. Chulalalak. In an instant, the entire basin is filled with the stench of decay. Fungus Chinese letter. Gi-Jin's spell, said to be developed by stealing the secret arts of the fungal bone race of the 6 major heaven tribe races, spreads throughout the basin, and purple spores begin to sprout all over my body. The hyphae extend, sapping my strength while empowering Galmeek. I can see why Rionxian and why Su preparing another spell. If this continues, I might really be defeated. This is the power of the human race. This is the human race. When they combine forces, they can take down even a late integration stage cultivator in an instant. If Hunwan was here, I would probably have been captured and turned into something like a Seo Yunhaian integration pill. No, even now, if they really start using their full power, it will be impossible to resist. But that's if they use their full power. You're not using your domains. I smirk, looking around with my 38 eyes. Though they appear calm at my words, their intents are greatly shaken. All of you are unleashing powerful attacks, trying to end this as soon as possible. Isn't that right? Shut up, Dai. Galmeek strikes at me again. Kyueng. I finally can't hold out any longer and fall to my knees. The heaven-earth demon-subduing pagoda presses down on me with even more force, and I am eventually crushed beneath it. As I lay pinned, I sense the integration stage grand cultivators gathering their strength, each preparing a powerful strike. The heaven-earth demon-subduing pagoda becomes semi-transparent, crossing onto a higher plane. Their attacks will penetrate through the pagoda and strike me. However, I smirk. Impressive. Countless beams of light head towards me. Wujuduk. Forcing my hands to move, I infuse them with black and white energy. The barrier of yin-yang and the 5 elements wraps around me. And then, an explosion of light erupts within the basin. Junyi is panting heavily. Did we finish him? We should have. No matter what, there's no way he can withstand the full power attacks of integration stage grand cultivators. Rionxian wipes the sweat from his forehead as he speaks. Damn, I only used my strength for a while, and I'm already this exhausted. It's because you overexerted yourself trying to find information to avoid the end and ended up staring directly at the true immortal. You were too greedy. But once this injury heals, all the surviving integration stage grand cultivators of the heaven tribe will gain powerful lightning divine powers, so it wasn't just greed. The only races where all the grand cultivators survived after staring directly at the true immortal are the tall tree race and our human race. That is also true. While they are chatting, Waisu moves her hand. The wind blows, clearing the dust cloud. Standing tall in the dust is Galmeek, still clad in their bone armor. Cultivator Gal, please retrieve the spy's body and soul. We'll interrogate him further at the Grand Cultivator meeting. But to think that someone from the human race learned both the heaven and earth dual cultivation method and the heart path method, he's quite the genius. Even so, given that he learned the heart path method, he must have been influenced by Jang Ik. His ideologies are definitely contaminated, so we must purify his thoughts through suggestion and bring him back as a proper member of the heaven tribe. Junyi converses with Rionxian, then glances back at Galmeek in the basin. Fellow cultivator, just what are you? Then Galmeek's voice is heard. Arenol. The next moment, the bone armor covering Galmeek shatters, revealing a blood-soaked woman with white hair and red eyes collapsing to the ground. Cultivator Galmeek. Junyi is startled and tries to fly to her. However, a monstrous being of starlight with 19 heads emerges from within the dust cloud, laughing. If this were a prolonged battle, I would have surely lost. But it seems everyone's condition is rather poor, seeing that you are all reluctant to even deploy your domains. You bastard! Kugaguguk. Jun Yi once again emits a magnetic field, pressing down on Seo Yunhyan. However, the gravitational force is far weaker than before. Seo Yunhyan, crossing his arms, speaks. Earlier, I had no choice but to respond since you all attacked me, but continuing this fight is meaningless. I wish to sit in the position of a human race grand cultivator. Considering that everyone's condition has deteriorated after facing that being, wouldn't it be mutually beneficial to accept me, a late integration level force as a grand cultivator? At that statement, Wai Rionxian, Wai Su, and Jun Yi simultaneously glare. Nonsense. You're asking us to accept a Heart Tribe spy as a grand cultivator of the human race Grand Alliance. Am I not part of the human race? In theory, the Heaven Tribe can master all three methods of heaven, earth, and heart, so why this discrimination? The ones who are born amidst unspeakable abuse and torment are the Heart Tribe, and the same goes for the human race. In theory, the Heaven Tribe can master all three methods, but any human who learned the Heart Path method would be influenced by the Heart Tribe's ideology. They would go around denying slavery and engaging in absurd liberation movements. How can we trust them? Is that so? Clicking his tongue at Jun Yi's attitude, Seo Yunhyan grabs Gal Meek, who collapsed before him, by the neck and lifts her up. Though Seo Yunhyan says nothing, Jun Yi glares at him with rage in his eyes. You vile, taking a hostage. No. Seeing Gal Meek captured, Wai Rionxian and Wai Su also close their eyes tightly. Leader, we have no choice. For now, we should accept that monster's proposal. Cultivator Gal Meek's life is at stake. Cug, vile Heart Tribe bastard. No, wait, I haven't even said anything. In the end, Jun Yi clenches his eyes shut, deciding to protect Gal Meek from the mad Heart Tribe spy monster, who walks around with the heads of 18 four-axis stage cultivators of the human race on his shoulders. Fine, I will allow you to take the position of a grand cultivator. However, you may not interfere in the affairs of the human race Grand Alliance, holding only the title. No place will be given to you on Heavenly Cauldron Mountain, and all resources allocated to you must be used by you alone. If we find any indication that you are transferring resources of the human race to the Heart Tribe territory, you will be arrested and put on trial immediately. If you cannot accept this, we will end you even at the cost of cultivator Gal Meek's life. Oh, I accept, but... If you accept, then hand over the hostage immediately. The Human Race Grand Alliance, exchanging Gal Meek, who was taken as a hostage, ultimately accepts Seo Yunhyan as a grand cultivator. / ********** Discord https://dsc.gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 333, Old Monsters Rampage 2. Translator, translating novice. Editors, Z0rel Blue Mango Adat. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Who? I sigh after somehow receiving the title of Grand Cultivator. The difficulty has increased so much since the disappearance of T. Yoljian. Moreover, if the title of Grand Cultivator is something that makes the human race Grand Alliance so wary, it's almost as if there's no point in even having it. Nevertheless, had I stayed still, the integration stage Grand Cultivators who received word from Hunwon would have continued to pursue me. By obtaining the Grand Cultivator qualification, I managed to prevent that from happening, and for now, that is enough to be satisfied with. I used the voice transmission talisman to contact Hong Fan. Hong Fan, come to the area below Heavenly Human Island with Jian Myohoon. I wait for Hong Fan while recovering my spiritual power in the basin created by Jun Yi. Since I've become a grand cultivator again, the next steps are simple. First, rescue Kim Yon, and then, either by kidnapping Kang Min-hee or by some other means, prevent her from going berserk as the ghost guiding Holy Mother. Also, I have some questions for Yonwei. At that moment, lightning flashes. Kirururung. As if the red lightning is wriggling, Jian Myohoon descends with his arms crossed in front of me. Looks like you've done something incredible again. He clicks his tongue while looking around. I'm quite the busy person, anyway. I look at Jian Myohoon's feet. He has 6 shadows. You've almost fully learned the 6 extremes Yin Thunder body. Yeah, I've mastered the lightning path part, but the curse and ghost path parts are difficult, so I haven't fully grasped them. The Six Extremes Yin Thunder Body is a devilish art that combines the curse method, ghost path method, and the lightning path method. It involves infusing ghostly energy into one's nascent soul through the six symbols of curses: violent death, disease, worry, poverty, evil, and weakness. By interpreting the ghostly energy and the life force within oneself as yin and yang, yin lightning is then formed. This is the essence of the Six Extremes Yin Thunder Body. However, if one has already practiced the lightning path method, it is said that you only need to taint the internal lightning energy with the curse symbols to convert it into yin lightning. Yin lightning is originally formed through curses and ghostly energy, but Jian Myohoon is cultivating the Six Extremes Yin Thunder Body in a peculiar way by somehow first generating yin lightning, and then forming curses and ghostly energy based on it. How does he even do that? I click my tongue at the absurdity of the heavenly golden thunder body and speak. I'd like to explain our plan going forward. What is it? For now, our basic goal is to advance our cultivation. In the process, let's gather our colleagues like Kim Yeon, Kang Min-hee, and Oh Hyun-seok. What about Deputy Oh Hi-seo? I have some information on her. She's currently doing well, so there's nothing to worry about. Well, if you say so, it should be fine. I explained to Jian Myohoon what we need to do. I'll rescue Kim Yeon. You go rescue Hyun-seok Hyung-nim. I mean, the chief. He's in the True Devil realm right now, and the grand cultivators of the True Devil realm should currently be pushing against the human race. He should be retreating, so assist Hyung-nim's retreat as quickly as possible. How quickly? There's a high probability that the Black Dragon King Hyun-eum will call upon something to descend into the True Devil realm. Do it as quickly as possible before he enters. Of course, I can handle the Black Dragon King if he arrives, but better safe than sorry. If the Black Dragon King doesn't come, there's no need for Azure Tiger Saint to sacrifice himself. Well, got it, I'll do that. Good, then I'll rescue Kim Yeon in a little while. Hong Fan, come with me for a moment. There's something I need to confirm with you. Oh yes, understood. After asking Jian Myohoon to rescue Oh Hyun-seok, I take Hong Fan out of the basin. Follow me. Pod. Using the ground shrinking technique, I take Hong Fan towards the place where the woman from the Grand Nirvana Temple had fled earlier. Pod Payet. How many dozen li do we cover? I finally detect her presence. The woman from the Grand Nirvana Temple had used the Earth Escape technique to hide about 200 li away from the battlefield between me and the Grand Cultivators. Kugaguk. I use attraction force to pull her out from where she's hiding underground. Eek, seniors, please spare me. Even if you turn me into a pill, my cultivation and Buddhist family methods won't help in increasing your realm. As soon as she's pulled to the surface and see us emitting attraction force, she collapses and screams in terror. Her reaction is vastly different from the boldness of the previous life's T. Yoljian. I look at Hong Fan and ask, Hong Fan, what do you think of this woman? Hong Fan strokes his beard as he looks at her, then glances up at me with a puzzled expression. She's a woman that smells. It seems she doesn't wash. I apologize. Is Master perhaps considering taking her as a concubine? Shala. I feel a chill run down my spine for some reason. Hong Fan's reaction has changed. Hong Fan. Yes. Don't you have any other thoughts? She seems to have cultivated some kind of Buddhist family method, and the spiritual power of that method looks a bit unusual. He seems completely uninterested. Hong Fan is treating her like an inanimate object. No, not that. When you look at this woman, do you not feel anything like wanting to marry her or suddenly confessing your love? I ask, observing Hong Fan closely. However, Hong Fan responds with a rather dumbfounded expression. Master, no matter if it is your will, marriage is a significant event in life, so aren't your views on marriage different from those of human, since you're a centipede demon? Upon hearing that Hong Fan is a centipede demon and our conversation about marriage, the woman from the Grand Nirvana Temple turns pale. As seniors, I don't know which part of me is appealing, but I do not have any confidence in satisfying a centipede demon senior. Please, let me go. Her reaction is also different. In the previous life, even though she didn't accept Hong Fan's courtship, she still blushed and felt a flutter in her heart. However, this life's her is genuinely terrified and repulsed at the thought of marrying a centipede demon. and Hong Fan, seeing her expression, frowns as if he also finds her displeasing. I apologize, Master. Even though I am a centipede, having spent so much time with you, I have been greatly influenced by the human race's concepts, and above all, the smell is too off-putting, even if you told me to eat her. Yuck, please don't eat me. Even if you told me to eat her, the smell would make me spit her out. Master, you don't really intend to marry me to her, do you? Hong Fan and the women of the Grand Nirvana Temple look at me with desperate eyes. Seniors, I am a committed single, and I have decided not to get married. Besides, as you already know, my body is smelly and I'm very lazy. I can't even do anything. Master, you may find it funny coming from a centipede, but I really want to make a loving connection and get married, so that one is a bit. I nod, holding my head. I understand. I wasn't telling you to get married. Thank you, Senior. Thank you, Master. Only then do the two bow to me with joy. Well, since we're here anyway, show me some of your Buddhist family methods. Buddhist family methods? Yes, the ones left in the Grand Nirvana Temple. Oh, as it happens, I brought all my possessions with me during the natural disaster, so I have them right here. She uses the earth escape technique to pull up a bundle from underground. How poor must you be to not even have a storage scroll? I click my tongue as I watch her packing her belongings into a bundle like a mortal from the lower world, without even a common storage magic artifact. It seems that everything she owns is in that small bundle. As she rummages through the bundle, she pulls out 3 jade slips that are worn and frayed from use. I examine the jade slips with a stiff face. They're different. These methods are different from the Buddhist family methods I learned in my past life, which could be cultivated up to the integration stage. These ones are methods that reach their limits at the grand perfection nascent soul stage. Of course, names like the 7 Brilliances Kings remain the same. The Golden Body Heavenly King, Red Bead Extinguishing Heavenly King, Lapis Lazuli Protecting Heavenly King, Silver Basket Heavenly King, Tridacna Vast Cold Heavenly King, Obsidian Demon Heavenly King, along with the concept of the future king. And the symbols they represent match the explanations given by T. Yoljian. But I find something odd. Hey, what happens to the 7 Brilliances Kings after they save all sentient beings? Are you referring to the 7 Brilliances Kings? What was it? Seemingly unable to recall the content of the Buddhist family method she learned, she scratches her head in thought. As I frown, Hong Fan threatens her in front of me. Do you not see the master is curious? Speak quickly. She shrinks and speaks as if she just remembered. Hi-Hiek, I apologize. The 7 Brilliances Kings, after saving all sentient beings, are said to shed their forms within the lotus. Shed their forms within the lotus, what happens next? After that, there's no further transmission. What is the relationship between the future king and the 7 Brilliances Kings? I'm not sure. Craig. As veins bulge on my forehead, she speaks with a tearful face. As senior, it's not that I can't remember, I really haven't learned it. In the first place, the future king is merely a symbol personifying future hope and doesn't hold a significant place in Buddhist family methods. Well, depending on the region, there are stories passed down that the future king is the master, disciple, or relative of the 7 Brilliances Kings, or that they have no relation at all. But these are all baseless. There's not much interest in the relationship between the future king and the 7 Brilliances Kings. We just regard them as heavenly kings dedicated to their respective domains. No relationship, you say? Yes, that is what my master taught me. Then why did T. Yoljian speak to me with such certainty about the future king? Are these all the methods of the Grand Nirvana Temple? Yes. Are there any methods that can reach the integration stage? Pardon, haha, if there were, wouldn't I have already become a grand cultivator? I apologize. I didn't mean to be sarcastic to you, senior. She scratches her head and jokes, but quickly bows her head and shrinks back as Hong Fan sends a cold glare her way. These are all the methods passed down in the Grand Nirvana Temple. I've never even seen any methods that reach the integration stage. All right, I understand. I need these Buddhist family methods for my study, so may I take them? It would be an honor, senior. It would be great if a cultivator of your high realm could master them, and, perhaps. And, if possible, could you accept me as your disciple? At those words, Hong Fan clicks his tongue and waves his hand. Master, in my opinion, this woman is smelly, seems to lack talent and doesn't have the will. You should not accept her. Receiving Hong Fan's annoyance, she prostrates herself flat on the ground. I apologize, I have overstepped my boundaries. Then since you're taking the Buddhist family methods, if you could at least mention that you got them from our grand Nirvana temple. Please forget it. Now that I think of it, it seems presumptuous as well. Crack. Hong Fan, seemingly angry, lets out a breath of poisonous energy. Master, because you show mercy, this woman keeps trying strange things through you. Despite being lazy, untalented, and smelly, she is cunning and shameless in this manner. At Hong Fan's continued words, she looks like she is about to faint. It might even be better to kill her. It seems her attempt to use me to promote the Grand Nirvana Temple has seriously offended Hong Fan, who rarely shows such anger. Enough, don't do that. I wave my hand. Though I don't like her trying to use me, I'm not angry because it seems she is trying to revive the Grand Nirvana Temple. I will speak well for your Grand Nirvana Temple, so don't worry, and this is payment for the Buddhist family methods. I throw her a storage magic artifact filled with spirit stones, and she prostrates herself in gratitude. I head towards the heavenly human island with Hong Fan, carrying the Buddhist family methods. I plan to go to Kim Yon. The 8 grand cultivators became 7, and the 8 fairy tales became 7 as well. The 2 events are related. I grit my teeth. Just what is going on? I glance at Hong Fan, who is following me. Today, I am certain from the way Hong Fan treated her. Hong Fan didn't love the nun. He was infatuated with the entity that possessed that woman. Just who is the entity that impersonated T. Yoljian, and why did Hong Fan go mad, even defying my orders to confess his love? And if I had practiced those Buddhist family methods that reached the integration stage given to me by that being, what would have become of me? With these complex thoughts, I head towards the Mad Lord. // Discord https://dsc.gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 334, Old Monsters Rampage 3. Translator, Translating Novice. Editors, Z0 Rel Blue Mango Adat. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Now, I'll go to the Mad Lord to rescue Kim Yon, block the Black Dragon King and save Oh Hyunseok with Jeon Myohoon, and finally, kidnap Kang Min-hee from the side path. After formulating my plan, I step onto the teleportation array to move to the area where the Mad Lord is currently located. Payet. Arriving at the teleportation array of a foreign race, I head towards the Mad Lord. Payet. Using the ground shrinking technique, I reach the Mad Lord's location far faster than before. At this rate, I won't need Jeon Myohoon's returning lightning spell to escape. I wonder how long it would take to win in a direct confrontation with the Mad Lord. Pondering, I calculate my strength against the Mad Lord's. At this point, the Mad Lord's power is already on par with the Human Race Grand Alliance's Grand Cultivator Association. Not the injured and weakened Grand Cultivator Association, but the fully powered one. I should avoid a direct confrontation. I don't want to be captured and become General Seo for another 1,000 years. Being Emperor Seo is one thing, but being General Seo is a bit much. With these idle thoughts, I arrive near the wonderfully mysterious fortress and gather my spiritual power. Churak Chuararung. The spirit-sealing bodkin spell wraps around my hands. Silver chains appear between my hands. Can this heal him? It had a temporary effect on Kang Min-hee. But somehow I feel it would be useless. Can the Mad Lord's madness be compared to Kang Min-hee's? Of course, the cracks in Kang Min-hee's mind might grow larger and turn her into the ghost guiding Holy Mother in the future. But at this point, the cracks aren't significant, so I can suppress them with the spirit-sealing bodkin. But the Mad Lord's madness is already at an advanced level. It could never be treated with just the spirit-sealing bodkin. Of course, now that I can use heart essence, I have confidence that I can temporarily halt the Mad Lord's madness by striking at his heart essence. But that's all. It might have been more effective than the Sea of Righteousness and Mountain of Grace for Kang Min-hee, but for the Mad Lord, it's even less useful than the latter. That is the spirit-sealing bodkin. Tusk, it's a shame. Feeling slightly regretful, I disperse the spirit-sealing bodkin spell. Then, revealing my concealed presence, I move to the front of the wonderfully mysterious fortress and shout. Greetings, Elder. I am the one named Seo. I have something I wish to present to the Elder, hence I have come here. A familiar voice responds. O tilde mai, have you come to become General Seo? How admirable. I cover my left hand with the White Orchid Blessing incantation, and my right hand with the Yin Soul Ghost incantation. Great Mountain. Flash. Splitting Emperor. Kyugyugyugyuagwa. Light explodes brilliantly. A massive hole is torn in one side of the wonderfully mysterious fortress. The Mad Lord circuits operate on the outside of the wonderfully mysterious fortress, using spiritual energy to set up multiple defensive formations. But the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique scatter chi itself into 7 parts. No matter how the energy is used for defense, it will just be dispersed. Perhaps it's because the Mad Lord circuits and the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique are so incompatible. Thanks to that, I can see the Mad Lord inside the wonderfully mysterious fortress, holding her hand and staring at me with a stunned expression. You bastard, how dare. The Mad Lord's eyes roll back, and he begins to tear at his fingers wildly. She and other grand cultivator-level puppets start crawling out of the wonderfully mysterious fortress. But I, with a blank expression, grasp the starting form with my eyes gleaming. All Heaven's Sword. Single strike. Not even she can stop it. This strike, fully immersed in the plane of soul, penetrates the Mad Lord's heart essence, momentarily suppressing his madness. This won't hold for long. I sense the sorrow, anger, pain, and love dormant inside the Mad Lord. The emotions are boiling chaotically, making it impossible to calm his heart essence through any means. All I can do is temporarily help him regain his sanity. While feeling this, I notice something strange in the Mad Lord's heart essence. Wait, it's strange. Is it because I have reached this realm and entered his heart essence? I can discern something. The Mad Lord, could it be? I grip my teeth as I sense the clue to the Mad Lord's madness. I also understand why Coatrial couldn't cast the tainted soul, filling the heavens on the Mad Lord. Have you entered within me? The Mad Lord, now rational, sits in the control room and senses my heart essence. Yes, but it won't last long. I figured, and if you've entered my heart, you must be feeling it now. Yes. Until now, I thought the Mad Lord was suffering from madness, due to the influence of the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Indeed, the Mad Lord was confirmed to be influenced by the wonderfully mysterious fortress to some extent. But today I found out. Elder isn't suffering from madness because of the wonderfully mysterious fortress. The Mad Lord gives a bitter smile at my words. It's merely my karma. You need not concern yourself. Anyway, what's the reason for all this commotion you caused to come here? To take your disciple with me. At my words, the Mad Lord nods. I see. She seemed to be meeting someone in her dreams whenever she sleeps. That turned out to be you. The Mad Lord seems to know I met Kim Yon in her dreams before, nodding his head. Take her, but be careful. I will eventually try to find that child again, because my life's goal can only be realized through her. I will keep that in mind and, looking into the Mad Lord's eyes, I speak. Until Yon can achieve your goal with her own strength, I will nurture her. The Mad Lord's goal was Yon's play. Kim Yon, operating the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon with her vast consciousness to control the wonderfully mysterious fortress to activate Yon's play, is the Mad Lord's purpose. The Mad Lord nods and says, "Good, I entrust her to you," and the Mad Lord takes out something resembling a magic artifact from his bosom and swiftly modifies it. That is, just like when the past life's Mad Lord imbued her arm with enlightenment, he is engraving enlightenment into that magic artifact. This is possible now because my higher realm allows the Mad Lord to remain sane for a longer period. The bee puppets bring Kim Yon over. Iyuyun Hyan, Opa. Kim Yon. As Kim Yon looks at me in surprise, the Mad Lord speaks to her. This is something I can only say now that my mind is clear, so I will say it now. She seems bewildered, finding strange the sight of the sane Jo Yon's appearance. Jo Yon hands her the magic artifact imbued with enlightenment and says, "I'm sorry for everything until now. From now on, be happy." No more words are needed. He is already relapsing into madness, and everything necessary is contained in that magic artifact. I approach Kim Yon, put my arm around her shoulders and bow to Jo Yon. "Thank you, now then." Before Kim Yon can fully grasp the situation, I use the ground shrinking technique to leave the place. Jo Yon is reverting to the Mad Lord. There's no more time to waste. Pay it. Using the ground shrinking technique, the flying escape technique, all heaven sword gliding technique, and every other movement technique I know of, I flee from the Mad Lord. Covering thousands of li in an instant, I feel the heart essence avatar I implanted in the Mad Lord being torn apart by his raging mob-like madness. The Mad Lord has completely returned, but the distance is too great for him to continue pursuing. Out of all the times I rescued Yon before, this is the safest rescue. Kim Yon, still slightly bewildered by the sudden turn of events, blinks her large eyes. Yona, are you confused? Finding her expression somewhat amusing, I chuckle and ask, is this a dream? I gently pinch the still dazed Kim Yon's cheek, and together board the teleportation array to Heavenly Human Island. This isn't a dream. Now then, shall we go to Black Ghost Valley and take a look at the side path? Having rescued Kim Yon, it's time to save Kang Min-hee. Earth Tribe True Dragon Alliance, serving Command Arc. The hidden layer of the serving Command Arc. There, kindly smiling sea dragon cultivator and a woman in white clothes with a smile are playing a game of Go. So, what is it that you want me to help with? The woman in white, Oh Hi Seo, asks with a smile to the sea dragon cultivator, Seo Atrial. It's nothing much. I just need you to investigate the past of a person I'm monitoring. Oh my, wasn't the only person you've asked for something like that the one called the Mad Lord? Ho ho, it's because something beyond my control was born, so I'm curious about what went wrong. Ahaha, well it figures. From what I've heard of the person called the Mad Lord, there is no one as invincible as him, to the point even our Grand Prince can't handle him. Oh Hi Seo giggles cheerfully and places a stone. Seo Atrial blocks her move with a smile. So will you grant my request? I'm well sure, who is it? Seo Atrial smiles gently at her words and forms a hand seal. Wu-wung. Someone's face appeared before Oh Hi Seo's eyes like an illusion. It's a terminal attached to that person. It's in a rather risky location, so it could scatter at any time, but it seems he hasn't noticed it yet. Please look into his past through this. Oh Hi Seo's eyes widen upon seeing the face. Oh my, isn't this someone I know? You want to know about his past? Yes. Seo Yunhyan is someone you fear. Oh Hi Seo explains Seo Yunhyan to Seo Atrial. She outlines roughly what kind of person he is, his past, his likes and dislikes, his medical history, how many times he visited the dentist, his military service role, the schools he attended, and what was written in his student record. Seo Atrial inquires about the unfamiliar concepts and learns about Seo Yunhyan. Well, anyway, that's the kind of person he is. Just an ordinary guy, nothing worth paying much attention to. He's just a mortal who is really serious about eating. Ho ho, I see. This has been very helpful. Seo Atrial concludes after listening to Oh Hi Seo's story from beginning to end. Most likely, the Seo Yunhyan you know is already dead. Oh no, how unfortunate. Oh Hi Seo clicks her tongue and blocks Seo Atrial's path, who then captures Oh Hi Seo's stone and continues speaking. His body was most likely taken over by some high-ranking entity. Perhaps his memories, soul, and fate have all been seized. The current Seo Yunhyan that exists is not your colleague but an unknown anomaly. Be careful, Miss Hi Seo, as you are not yet aware of the true existence of such mythical beings. Be cautious, and be cautious again. Oh, come on. You say that, but you're secretly hoping I mess with the anomaly and get ruined, right? Since that would make it easier to brainwash me, wouldn't it? Ho ho, I hold no such thoughts at all. I think I'm starting to understand your way of speech, Grand Prince. Oh Hi Seo rolls her eyes at Seo Atrial, and Seo Atrial seizes the opportunity to completely block her path while she's distracted to seize her territory entirely. By the way, didn't you say you were colleagues? You seem to know an excessive amount of information about this Seo Yunhyan. Is Miss Hi Seo's hometown originally a place where information flows so freely? Oh my, you know me, Grand Prince, that I'm quite thorough. I know everything about my colleagues, especially a younger junior I doted on. I even found out how many wisdom teeth they had pulled, the shape of those teeth, and the exact length of their toenails when they cut them. Ho ho, as expected, it's one of your personal hobbies. Yes, well, something like that. But it's quite sad that it's so hard to get to know you, Grand Prince. Could you share some of your past with me? I told you last time, didn't I? born as the son of the previous Sea Dragon King, Cohwi. Come on, I know all of that is a lie, and you're not even Cohy's son. That body isn't even your original one. Aren't you much older? Cohyal and Ohicio continue their chat with friendly smiles, and Ohicio at some point reaches her hand into the illusion Cohyal has shown her. A Tadi symbol appears in her eyes. Hem. Suddenly, Ohicio smiles inwardly. Oh my, you just rescued Yon, and what's this? Those actions, aren't they exactly the same as before? Every small habit, mannerism, way of speaking, and the way the corners of his mouth lift when he laughs are all the same, and yet possessed by an anomaly. She places another stone in Cohyal's territory while cutting off his path, her eyes shining. What nonsense! That's definitely Yunhyan. I don't know why he became something like an anomaly, but since all 7 of us gained strange powers, it must be due to that. She smiles inwardly. Seeing he rescued Kim Yon, and there's no way that dull guy will know Kim Yon's thoughts, he must be planning to gather all his colleagues. Ohicio forms a plan. I need to look for an opportunity and make contact with Yunhyan. Yunhyan also seems to be against Cohyal, so if I say I was captured by Cohyal, he'll rescue me, right? Should I maybe play a double agent between Yunhyan and Cohyal? Both sides look fun. She decides to approach Yunhyan soon, choosing to align herself with whoever piques her curiosity the most. And Cohyal, observing her, smiles faintly. Ah, Grand Prince, I won. You didn't see that move coming, did you? Ho ho, indeed, I can't match you, Miss Hycio. After returning to Heavenly Human Island with Kim Yon, I register her at Temporal Fate Island and head with her to the entrance to the True Devil Realm. I plan to either wait for the Black Dragon King to arrive, or for Oh Hyun-seok to be rescued before heading to Black Ghost Valley to take Kang Min-hee. Kim Yon looks at me for a moment and then asks, Yunhyan Oppa. Yes, what is it, Yon? You said you're going to Black Ghost Valley, right? Black Ghost Valley, that's where Min-hee Un-nai went, isn't it? And? Kim Yon hesitates for a moment as if gathering courage, then asks resolutely, Are you going to see Min-hee Un-nai? I think for a moment about how to respond, then realize what she means. You already know. Ah, that's because, when Min-hee Un-nai said she supports me, Kim Yon, having been caught immediately, lowers her head slightly in embarrassment. I shake my head and say, I'm not going because I miss Kang Min-hee. I just have something to do there. She's just an ex-girlfriend. Is that so? Yes. Yunhyan Oppa. Yes. You're rescuing Min-hee Un-nai and me for the same reason, aren't you? What do you mean? I feel a slight sense of foreboding as I ask. Kim Yon gives a bitter smile and says, When you said you were going to rescue Min-hee Un-nai, you showed the same intent as when you rescued me. It seems that I, thinking I already rescued Kim Yon, relaxed a bit and let my intent show. But if you showed the same intent when rescuing Min-hee Un-nai as you did when rescuing me, and if you think of Min-hee Un-nai as just an ex-girlfriend. Her next words hit me like a blow to the back of my head. Are you treating me with the same feelings as you would an ex-girlfriend? //// Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 335, Old Monsters Rampage 4. Translator, Translating Novice. Editors, Z0rel Blue Mango Aderisnut. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. I'm momentarily frozen, unsure of what to say, and my mouth just opens and closes silently. Seeing me like that, Kim Yon gives a bitter smile. I finally thought you were accepting my feelings. I've always liked you. And when we met in the dreams, you were giving me intensive affection, so that's what I believed. Surug. She stands up from her seat. But it was my misunderstanding. I don't know why, but Yunhyan Oppa, you're seeing someone else in me, aren't you? I can't say anything, my face hardening. Seeing someone else. Yes, that's true. In a way, it isn't the current Kim Yon that I saved and liked, but rather, it's the Kim Yon from my time with the Mad Lord whose heart I was given that I was trying to love through the current Kim Yon. But in the end, it seems I was deceiving myself as well. I'm sorry. I apologize to Kim Yon. And I make up my mind. Let's tell her. Even though it's difficult to explain things related to the regression, I decide to tell her everything I can tell her. There was someone before, other than Kang Min-hee, who liked me. I tell her about the past cycle's Kim Yeon. I refer to the name Kim Yeon simply as her. The 1,000 years are generalized as a very long time, but it doesn't hinder conveying the meaning. We sit on a hill in front of the entrance to the true devil realm, talking. And I finally tell her everything about the past cycle's Kim Yeon. That's the end of it. She died. She met me at the end and conveyed her heart to me, and I might be projecting her onto you. So that's why. Kim Yeon nods her head. Now I understand why you felt the emotion of longing towards me. A brief silence lingers between us after that. After a while, Kim Yeon asks, Yunhayan Oppa. Hem? She hesitates for a while, as if struggling with her words, but despite that, she closes her eyes tightly and asks, You know right that I like you. With her face flushed red, she buries her face in her knees as she speaks. I give a bitter smile. Yeah. For a while, an intent that's hard to put into words flows between us. You don't have any intention of accepting me, do you? I'm silent for a long time. I hadn't expected her to delve in so quickly. Through her question, I discover feelings within myself that I hadn't known before. I loved the Kim Yeon of that cycle, but the current Kim Yeon, I don't love her. She's still just a cute junior to me. I see, haha, I'm glad I asked. Kim Yeon seems to fall silent for a moment, then speaks. To be honest, I thought we were dating. When you spoke to me in the dreams, it was difficult to distinguish intent, and you radiated an intent of longing for me, always talking to me, comforting me, laughing with me, and keeping me company. You even stormed in to save me from the mad lord. Kim Yeon smiles. She smiles brightly. If you hadn't told me, I might have ended up with a really strange misunderstanding. Hee hee. Surug. Kim Yeon stands up from her seat. Thank you for being honest with your feelings. If you had lied to comfort me, I might have ended up in a weirder state. She turns her back to me. And while facing away, she speaks. I have a goal now, Deputy Seo Yoon-hyan. I try to say something, but no words come out. I can't think of what to say. I'm going to keep confessing to you. I'll keep confessing my love again and again until you truly, truly fall for me. She rubs her face and then turns back to look at me. I like you, Deputy Seo Yoon-hyan. Kim Yeon is crying. There are no tears, but she's crying with a dark blue intent. I hesitate for a moment, but seeing that intent, I make up my mind. I will no longer waver. Okay. I don't have feelings for this life's Kim Yeon as a lover or a romantic partner. Let's acknowledge that. And let's also acknowledge that Kim Yeon will endlessly keep sending her heart to me. If her heart doesn't break, my heart might eventually fall. No, in fact, it has already fallen several times. To Buk Hyungish WA. The Kim Yeon of the past cycle. To Hong Sur Yeon. I can't accept your heart today. Then I'll offer it again tomorrow. She hardens her gaze. Tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and the day after that. No matter how long it takes, over and over again. I lock eyes with Kim Yeon for a while. Whatever it is. The eyes of someone with determination shines. She is shining. Do your best. People's hearts change. But sometimes there are hearts that do not change. And those who maintain and refine such unwavering hearts. Sometimes they are reborn as a new kind of being with a new vision. Will she be able to push through with her heart? All I can do is cheer for Kim Yeon. I can't love her right now. That would be deceiving my own heart. But if time passes and she keeps sending her heart to me, then I don't know. The relationship between Kim Yeon and I will change from now on. Until now, I've been deceiving myself into thinking I liked her. And she, too, had been under the strange illusion that we were dating. But at this moment, I revealed my genuine heart, and even though she heard my true feelings, she didn't give up and decided to start anew and push her heart towards me. I suddenly feel afraid of Kim Yeon. If that unyielding heart changes or fades away halfway through, it wouldn't be a big matter. But what if it doesn't change? If so, perhaps at some point, Kim Yeon would come to hold a very significant place within me. For me, cherishing someone is natural, but loving them is frightening. I have lost that love so many times right before my eyes, and know how painful and heart-wrenching it is when love disappears. Yes, Kim Yeon would become my heart's greatest burden in the future. After sorting out our relationship in that way, Time passes. Kagagugu. Gigantic warships cross over from the entrance of the true devil realm. They are the remnants of the human race. Strangely, the Black Dragon King never appeared, allowing the human race army to come through unimpeded. Leading those remnants, Jian Myohun catches my eye. Jian Myohun returns with a calm face and speaks to me. I heard they were doing something as stupid as the Realm Annihilation Heavenly Void formation, so I flipped the table. I killed a few of the top brass, but since they were all at the 4-axis stage, they'll resurrect on their own. You killed the top brass. Got a problem with that? They wouldn't listen even though I said we had to leave quickly, insisting that they had to activate the formation till the end. The Grand Cultivator Association might make a fuss, but since you're also a Grand Cultivator now, support me appropriately. I'm a bit taken aback by Jian Myohun's seemingly reckless approach, but at the same time, it feels like something he would do. Well, you did well. Since those at the 4-axis stage can resurrect, I'm not concerned about their deaths. Killing a few of them to swiftly bringing out the human race was rather well done. And then, I'm able to meet Oh Hyun-seok shortly after. It's been a while, Seo Yun-hyun. It has been a while, Hyung-nim. He speaks with a thoroughly exhausted face. A lot has happened, and I heard you became a grand cultivator. Yes. Haha, Jian Myohun has grown unexpectedly, and you've become this strong already. Haha, I'm the only one lagging behind. For some reason, Oh Hyun-seok is currently at the core formation stage. Jian Myohun crosses his arms and explains. He was originally at the grand perfection nascent soul stage, reaching towards the heavenly being stage, but he suffered a critical injury while stopping the devil race's advance and his cultivation fell. Oh Hyun-seok sighs. I've realized a lot. When I return to the Azure Heaven Creation sect, I plan to focus on improving my cultivation. This world truly is a place where you must have strength to live like a person. Indeed. I agree with Oh Hyun-seok's words. However, I smile at his mention of returning to the Azure Heaven Creation sect. Instead of just going back to raise your realm, why not travel with us? I make a suggestion to Oh Hyun-seok. In my past life, I failed to gather my colleagues. In this life I have brought together Jian Myohun, Oh Hyun-seok, and Kim Yeon. Now, if I just call Kang Min-hee here, everyone who can be gathered in the current situation will be together. The primary goal in this life is to develop the canvas of myriad forms and connections. Thus, it's best to stay alongside talented colleagues and operate the canvas of myriad forms and connections. I also have the regret of not seeing my colleagues all together in my previous life. However, Oh Hyun-seok shakes his head with a regretful expression. I'm sorry, but the training method of the Azure Heaven Creation sect is actually more efficient and powerful than any other sect. If I train there, I'll inevitably become much stronger. For now, I plan to get even stronger there using the most efficient methods first. The Azure Heaven Creation sect is indeed efficient. If you want to be with me, how about you join the Azure Heaven Creation sect instead? You don't have to become a disciple, you can stay as a guest. The Azure Heaven Creation sect does not have guests. No, there are those who want to become guests of the Azure Heaven Creation sect, but they all flee within 3 days. The longest-lasting guest probably stayed for 7 days and nights, I believe. Moreover, since guests are not inner disciples, no one bothers to chase after them if they run away. Inner disciples, however, are pursued by their seniors with fire in their eyes for discipline if they run away. But if a guest decides to leave, what can you do? Anyway, the important thing is that the Azure Heaven Creation sect is not a place that leaves even guests alone. It's a place where even guests flee. If Kim Yeon or Jian Myohun were to go, I guarantee they'd run away within 5 days. Of course, saying this outright would hurt feelings, so I soften my words. I apologize for saying this, but training with us would be more efficient than training at the Azure Heaven Creation sect. What do you mean by that? Well, isn't Azure Heaven Creation sect's Azure Tiger Saint at the 4-axis stage? That's right. At this point, Jian Myohun, Kim Yeon, and I all possess power beyond the 4-axis stage. Also, I already have the qualifications of a Grand Cultivator of the Human Race Grand Alliance. I extend my hand to him. Honestly, it would be better for Hyun-seok Hyung-nim to train with us rather than at the Azure Heaven Creation sect. Moreover, I can obtain several methods that are perfect for Hyung-nim. Hem, please give it a thought. Well, if you really prefer the Azure Heaven creation sect, there's nothing I can do. Ohian Siak says he will consider it, and after some idle chatter with everyone, I stand up. Then, since we're all gathered, shall we go look for Kang Minhee as well? Ah, she's at the Black Ghost Valley, right? Yes, let's head there. Kuang. After connecting my colleagues to me through Attraction Force, I take a step towards Black Ghost Valley. Payet. Using the ground shrinking technique, I arrive at Black Ghost Valley in an instant and am taken aback. In front of Black Ghost Valley, Ohaisio, dressed in pure white, is sitting on a nearby rock looking at me. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 336, Old Monsters Rampage 5. Translator, Translating Novice. Editors, Z0rel Blue Mango Aderisnut. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. What's that? It's definitely Ohaisio. But there's an odd sense of incongruity about her. I walk towards the entrance, keeping my face expressionless. It's definitely Ohaisio. However, there are no basic signs of life one would expect from a human, such as heartbeats or life waves. And there's no sensation of consciousness waves either. I see it's a projection. I focus my consciousness on my surrounding colleagues. Strangely, none of my colleagues react to seeing Ohaisio. Considering how popular she was at the company, they should all be greeting her with delight for meeting after a long time. But this lack of reaction means only I can see her. I get it. I finally realize the source of the strange incongruity. The same sense as Kim Young-hoon. I can see her because I possess that perception. While Ohaisio originally has no intention of revealing herself to us, that very intention to do something is making her projection visible. How creepy. If I didn't have this sense, I too would have passed by without seeing her. For now, I control my entire body's reaction and walk towards the Black Ghost Valley, pretending not to notice her. Welwung. Clap. Ohaisio claps her hands with a smile. Immortal beast, lustrous glaze peacock. Flash. A clear radiance bursts forth, causing a momentary dazed look in my colleague's eyes. I draw upon the canvas of myriad forms and connections from within. Perhaps because I face the governing immortals and recognize the vanished entities in this cycle, by slightly operating the canvas of myriad forms and connections, I am able to resist the light of the lustrous glaze peacock. However, I pretend to be dazed to see what Ohaisio is trying to do. Immortal beast, yin ghost black turtle. Simultaneously, with the nether perception I acquired through the Great Desert to Dead Sea, I see the outskirts of the netherworld. The outskirts of the netherworld begin to ripple and transform in various places. Ohaisio. I sense what she is trying to do and consider whether to strike with the All-Heaven sword. She is currently distorting the outskirts of the netherworld with the power of the yin ghost black turtle. The outskirts of the netherworld are located in a special plane that overlaps with this world. While they overlap, they are not completely the same, and they mutually influence each other. As the outskirts of the netherworld twist, reality distorts along with it. Through the senses of the Great Desert to Dead Sea, I can feel numerous ghosts screaming at the sudden calamity. Most ghosts have their main bodies in the outskirts of the netherworld, and what appears in reality is just a kind of projection. Of course, foolish ghosts below the level of ghost kings are mostly unaware that their main bodies are in the outskirts of the netherworld. In any case, the principle behind ghosts displaying supernatural phenomena like passing through objects is all due to their main bodies existing in another plane. Therefore, unless it's a power that can dispel the outskirts of the netherworld itself, like the force of vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness, or a power that can transcend planes, it's originally difficult to harm ghosts. But Ohaisio is laying down some kind of formation across the entire Black Ghost Valley by manipulating the outskirts of the netherworld itself. At the same time, the light from the lustrous glaze peacock emitted by her is making a fool of not just us, but all the ghosts in the Black Ghost Valley. The terrified ghostly wails gradually subside, and only the stupid, woo-woo sounds of ghosts echo. Probably all the humans in the Black Ghost Valley have become fools too. But I inwardly sneer. How crude. It's merely a supernatural power borrowed from an immortal beast, not deriving from the true ghost path method. In my eyes, it's just crude. Numerous thoughts arise on how to dismantle the formation she is laying, how to restore the outskirts of the netherworld she has twisted back to their original state, and how to use this to capture Ohisio instead. My mind is bursting like fireworks. It would be very easy to twist the outskirts of the netherworld by using the attraction force of Great Desert to Dead Sea. A feeling I never had while learning martial arts or orthodox cultivation methods. It feels as if a bright path is visible before my eyes. Could it be because the root of Seo Lee's talent in devilish arts came from me? It's ridiculous, it seems so easy. I suppress a wry smile internally and maintain my neutral expression. Ohisio lets us enter the Black Ghost Valley, and I decide to leave her alone for now. She appears to be plotting something, but I'm confident I can reverse her scheme and punish her properly when she takes action. And what's this? Something feels strange. The first to sense the incongruity is the one with the vast consciousness, Kim Yeon. She tilts her head, seemingly aware that her mind had momentarily become dazed. However, Jeon Myung-hoon and Oh Hyun-seok look puzzled, not noticing at all, and I deliberately don't inform them. After a while, we encounter a gatekeeper on our way to the dock of the Nether crossing ship. Grand Cultivator Seo Yoon-hyun is here to meet Kang Min-hee, a disciple of Black Ghost Valley. The gatekeeper Jiangxi is startled by my words, and they summon a ghost from their sleeve to send towards the Nether crossing ship. Oh Hyun-seok and Jeon Myung-hoon slightly frown at the sight of the Jiangxi, but Kim Yeon, who has seen countless puppets, appears unfazed. Yes, Elder, I have sent a messenger ghost to the inner valley, so a response will arrive shortly. Shortly after, two figures fly over from the direction of the Nether crossing ship. It's the familiar Hyo Guak and Hyo Ryong. Hyo Ryong greets me with a slightly tense face, while Hyo Guak stares at me with an expression of incomprehension. Is there something on my face? Oh no, my apologies. While he still has the look of incomprehension, he bites his lip and lowers his head. Now that I think about it, Senior must have been hiding your true cultivation back then. I was inexperienced and dared to be rude to you, Senior. Hyo Guak, seemingly thinking that I'm a monster who had hidden their cultivation, bows his head and apologizes for what happened at the flying immortal platform. He wouldn't believe me if I said I was really just at the nascent soul stage back then, would he? Rather, he would probably think I'm mocking him, so I just nod slightly. All right, that's that. As you know, I've come to meet Kang Min-hee, the disciple of the Black Ghost Valley. Hyo Ryong awkwardly smiles and speaks. Haha, Senior. I greatly apologize, but disciple Kang Min-hee is currently in secluded cultivation at the Black Ghost Valley's secret grounds. May I ask the reason you wish to meet her? It's nothing special. I just want to meet her because she's from my hometown. By the way, what's her current realm? Currently, that child has entered the heavenly being stage. I look at Hyo Ryong and Hyo Guak. They're lying. Are they worried that I might take her away if I know her current cultivation realm? For now, just bring her here. If she's at the heavenly being stage, she should at least be able to send a clone, no. Even if she can't move due to her seclusion, she should be able to send a clone. Yes, of course, I will bring her in person, not just her clone. Hyo Ryong signals to Hyo Guak with his eyes, who then quickly runs off to fetch Kang Min-hee. In the meantime, Hyo Ryong leads us outside of the Nether crossing ship to a flower garden at the highest peak of the Black Ghost Valley. When we arrive, various beautiful flowers and plants are in full bloom, and there are no traces of ghostly energy or yin energy to be found. This is the perfect place to entertain guests. Following Hyo Ryong's lead, we enter and sit in the pavilion at the center of the garden. Clap clap. At Hyo Ryong's clap, beautifully adorned Jiangxi served us tea. First of all, welcome to the Black Ghost Valley, Sir Grand Cultivator Seo. I heard you recently became a Grand Cultivator. That's right. That's very impressive. The future of our human race has become even brighter. Hyo Ryong flatters me, engaging in small talk for a while. Then, after a while, he subtly shifts the conversation to the main topic. By any chance, has Sir Grand Cultivator come to the Black Ghost Valley with regards to the matter acquiring your subordinate force? It really isn't for such a reason. I just came to meet Kang Min-hee, but it somehow seems like my actions are being explained that way. Let's talk more in detail after seeing Kang Min-hee. Yes, of course. A little while later, Hyo Guak is flying over with a disciple at the heavenly being stage from afar. It's Kang Min-hee. I slightly frown at the sight. A clone. It appears they brought over the clone at the heavenly being stage, instead of the main body as promised. Well, showing a disciple who reached the four-axis stage in 100 years to a suspicious grand cultivator has no benefits. Soon, Kang Min-hee enters the pavilion. She seems to slightly bite her lips at the sight of me, then formally greets me from the opposite side. Greetings, Sir Grand Cultivator Seo Yun-hyan. It's been a long time since we last met. I feel a slight bitterness at her formality and shake my head. Drop the formalities and I look at her and ask, if it's you, you must have noticed, right? It seems a loach has entered your sect. What are you going to do about it? Flinching. Kang Min-hee gives a sly smirk at my words. Rather than a loach, it's best a fly, and when it comes to flies, it's best to swat them down. As expected, she has also noticed Oh Hyeseo's disruptions, her eyes gleaming. Even if Oh Hyerseo spread the light of the lustrous glazed peacock, the Kang Min-hee in front of me is just a clone controlled by the main body and hence wouldn't be affected. Hyo Guak and Hyo Ryong look puzzled as if they can't follow our conversation, and I ask Kang Min-hee another question. The fly is quite big. How do you plan to catch it at the heavenly being stage? You'd need at least the qualifications to handle attraction force. Kang Min-hee's eyes glint at my words. And Hyo Guak and Hyo Ryong, catching the hidden thorn in my words, flinch and shudder. I apologize, Senior. We were too presumptuous. Please punish us. As expected of old monsters who have lived for at least thousands of years, they immediately kneel before me. But at the same time, they cleverly avoid mentioning Kang Min-hee's main body being hidden, showing their cunning by seeking forgiveness first. Truly old monsters that can't be underestimated. Clicking my tongue, I ask, it seems something is wrong with your sect, and it appears only Cultivator Kang and I have noticed. As an outsider, I might cause reluctance if I interfere, so I will give you a chance. What will you do? At my words, the two exchange glances before looking at Kang Min-hee. Kang Min-hee seems to transmit a message, and after a while their faces turn to shock. That happened. Why didn't we notice anything? Sweat starts dripping from their faces as they speak. If only you and Sir Grand Cultivator can sense it, we have no choice. We will open the gate for a moment, so come out, Min-hee. Kang Min-hee nods, and the two bow deeply to me in apology. We have overstepped. We confess our sin of daring to hide our disciple's realm from you, Senior. Did I not say she was from the same hometown? I am well aware of Cultivator Kang's talent. She has always been someone exceptional. Kang Min-hee seems to want to say something at my words, but glances at Hyo Guak and Hyo Ryong before clamping her mouth shut again. Then I will open the gate. Kugaguguk. Hyo Ryong and Hyo Guak draw something like a formation on the spot, and attraction force begins to emanate. Kugaguguk. I thought she could only come out on days with strong yin energy, but it seems she can come out regardless with the combined strengths of two four-axis grand elders. Soon, a rift in space opens in the middle of the pavilion, and an overwhelming chill spills out. Chua. The cold spreads out in a circle, and from the pitch-black darkness, a woman appears. Surug. Clad in a black robe formed from the surrounding darkness, she turns her eyes burning faintly with blue ghost fire towards me. It's Kang Min-hee. Jajajajajat. Her clone at the heavenly being stage is absorbed by her main body as soon as she enters the bright cold realm, and I feel the outskirts of the netherworld quiver nearby. I smile slightly as I look at Kang Min-hee's main body. It's been a while, colleague Kang. It really has been a while, Sir Grand Cultivator Seo. But since this is an official setting, I'd appreciate it if you could separate public and private matters. Kang Min-hee openly shows her discomfort with a forced smile, while Jeon Myung-hoon and Oh Hyeon-seok have expressions that say, as expected. Kim Yeon appears slightly restless. Well, for now, would it be fine if we start by swatting the fly? I smile and raise my attraction force. That is our first priority. Kang Min-hee looks down towards the vicinity of the nether crossing ship, exuding ghostly energy. Then, since we need to untangle the distorted outskirts first, the two grand elders should. It's when Kang Min-hee reaches towards the twisted outskirts of the netherworld. Oh my, is our sales development department having a fun party without me? A clear and resonant voice suddenly springs out from somewhere. The voice startles Kim Yeon, Kang Min-hee, Jeon Myung-hoon, and Oh Hyeon-seok, turning their faces into shock. Even I am so caught off guard that I flinch in surprise. Haha, let me join in too, tilde. Wriggle, wriggle. My shadow suddenly squirms, and a woman dressed in white appears from within, smiling brightly with her arms outstretched. How? I didn't sense anything. Something is wrong. This feeling isn't coming from Ohisio. I immediately realize something. This isn't Ohisio's power. This is tainted soul filling the heavens. Instantly, I piece together past experiences and truth to weave together a certain inference. Coatrial, that bastard must have placed tainted soul filling the heavens on my shadow, and Ohisio used her power through Coatrial's tainted soul filling the heavens to appear here. Chills run down my spine. The fact that tainted soul filling the heavens can affect such an abstract concept like a shadow is absurd, but combined with Ohisio's power, it makes my neck tingle. Doesn't that mean Coatrial can snipe me from a remote distance whenever he desires? Ohisio's projection that appeared through the power of tainted soul, filling the heavens, smiles brightly and recites. Immortal beasts, lustrous glaze peacock, yin ghost black turtle, mountain-destroying demon ape, black dragon, supreme tiger, azure peng, white-winged heavenly Pegasus. Weighing, a taiji pattern forms beneath her feet, and from below it, the figures of divine immortal beasts emerge. Wait you! Kang Min-hee, enraged, reaches out to Ohisio, and I too brandish my all-heaven sword towards the sudden intruder. But the next moment, Hio Ryo and Hio Guak start laughing eerily like something straight out of a nightmare, forming hand seals simultaneously. Ohisio and Coatrial exert their powers at the same time. Blood Yin Ghost Valley Labyrinth, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Myriad Spirits Earth Immortal Apparition, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Space distorts. In an instant, our surroundings turn into a pure white space. When I look around, my colleagues are nowhere to be seen. We have fallen into the trap set by the collaboration of Ohisio and Coatrial. Ho ho ho, thank you, Miss Hisio. Thanks to you, we were able to capture that anomaly. The pure white space. Inside, the projection of Coatrial dressed in blue robes and the projection of Ohisio dressed in white are conversing. By the way, was it necessary to reveal the technique I had hidden? It was a secret that I could hide it in shadows. Oh my, was it necessary? It's fun, isn't it? Fun, ho ho. Coatrial looks at Ohisio with a bright smile. A look that seems to say he understands whatever Ohisio is thinking. As expected, Ohisio is also smiling. However, she is fiercely thinking as she looks at Coatrial. What is this guy thinking? Does he know my plan? That can't be, but Coatrial's techniques might be able to read thoughts, so I have to be careful. I should keep trivial thoughts on the surface while contemplating important ones deeper inside. Well, fine. Regardless, Coatrial will be leaving this otherworld created by distorting the outskirts of the netherworld, so I'll use that gap to secretly contact Seo Yun-hyan. Ohisio's mind races furiously. Then Coatrial stands up from his seat. I can't stay in this space for too long, so I'll step outside and prepare to capture them completely. Miss Hisio, please maintain this space for a while. Leave it to me. Ohisio stands up to see Coatrial off, and he turns his back to leave the white space. At that moment, Kung! A heavy rumbling roar is heard from somewhere. Coatrial turns around and laughs softly. Oh dear, well, I expected as much. What? Ohisio looks towards the origin of the sound, momentarily unable to grasp the situation. What in the? And then, Kwajin Cheng. Cracks spread across the white space, and a hand reaches out from within, grabbing Ohisio's ankle. No, what is this? Ohisio's eyes widen in shock, and Coatrial hurriedly uses attraction force to open the door of the white space. No, wait, Grand Prince Coatrial, take me with you. Ohisio hastily calls out to Coatrial, but he simply laughs with a ho-ho, stepping through the door and closing it without hesitation. Quang! TSD. The white door shines brightly before dissipating into the white space. Ohisio gasps for breath, her lips pressed tightly together as she feels the 38 eyes staring at her from behind and hears Coatrial's voice from ahead. Ho ho, Miss Hisio, I wish you a safe return to reality. I will take good care of your body. Coatrial, you. Kia. Kaeja. Hua. The white space becomes contaminated, transforming into a garden of filthy flowers. Clench. A terrifying arm straight from a nightmare grasps Ohaisio's shoulder. It's been a while, Caligo. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord.